Is good? Bad? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Who's here? You can hear me on both. Awesome! Normal! Woo! We did it! We're normal! We got it! We're doing so good. Okay. And I actually saved the page that we're on. It's good. Wait. It's good a bit quite, but good. A bit quiet. Okay. I'm muted or I'm not muted? It works? Okay. It's normal. Is it too loud? Is it too soft? Because we can go up, we can go down. I'm gonna make it just a little bit louder, just because I want to be. Oh wait, I can do that on with this. Like, okay, you should be able to hear me now, even more. So it should pick up on me a lot easier. That's perfect. Yeah. Okay. Not too loud. I'm not blowing out anyone's ears. Let's go. Wait, this is Twitch. I need to look at. Oh wait, if I kind of maneuver this and make this slightly different. I'm in a different location today because I'm in the middle of moving, so I have to like do all this random stuff. It's a bit low. It's good now? Okay. Oh hey! The real Gokinaru! Welcome back! Okay, so we're not too quiet, we're not too loud. I feel like putting it a little bit louder just in case. Just in case. Schmoovin'? Yeah, we are. Okay. So for me, we're on page 73. Do you guys like my festive hoodie? Or sorry, not hoodie, my festive sweater? That's totally on correctly. I'm actually gonna move my little insignia up here. That's fine, right? No, you can't see that. Whoops! That'll just go here. It's ugly. Uh, how explicit? No, I don't know what you're talking about. It's just a mirrored shirt. I don't know. It's the Canadian Gokunar only streams on Fridays, so you can chill here tonight. Okay, awesome. I don't really plan on streaming on Fridays because I have things that I like doing. I mean, I guess he does too, but like, I don't know, man. I can't give up my Friday night, you know? Wait, before we start, how's Chad doing? Tell me, was your day good or bad? Just rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, then say like good or bad, or just do an emoji. I have our book ready. We're ready. I'm also just procrastinating. Bro is a grass toucher. I touch grass, except I'm allergic, so I touch as much grass as I can without sending myself into an allergic reaction and getting hives, because that sucks, and I don't like that. Not one bit. You're in Austin for a bit? Oh, so you're out of the Florida area. You got 13 minutes left on the Fuji road. So you will return? Okay. Helping a friend move? Oh, yeah, that's gonna be me soon. You should see my setup right now. Oh my god. Everything is a mess. I have a different, that's why lighting's different. That's why, well, I guess audio is technically the same. But I literally have this on a guitar stand. So we're making it work, quite literally. But okay. We're doing good, Doors. Solid. I'm happy. I'm happy to hear it. Okay. Alrighty. Well, with that, I guess we'll begin again. I'm dreading this, and I forgot exactly where we ended on, because we stopped on page 72, 73 for me. I think 73, but I'll restart at page 72, which, well, here we're on, it says, it's referring to exogamy. My friend who's moving out with like a moving company, I think, so that's a pain. Well, at least a moving company is good, you know? Okay. I'm going to adjust into a more comfortable position because I'm currently sitting like I'm in tea ceremony club back when I was in Japan. That really sucked. You have to sit on your legs the entire time, and like your legs go numb, and that's like a form of like austerity. I don't know. They didn't make me do it too long because I was like a foreign student, so. But yeah, I was there, and they were like, "Oh, you're doing so good." But okay. Um, Wait. As we're doing this, let me make sure that we're on the correct page. Cultural ambition. No, we're on Strauss here, which is not the correct page. Excuse you. Um. Oh yeah, we went way past this. We were way past all of this. The sentimental, the sentimental feminism that Nietzsche despised. Oh, he's really going after every single thing. Um. Wait. Oh, here we go. So, okay, so 72 here for me is the same as 72 on there. Okay, perfect. Sitting Japan, yes. Festive, very, very festive. I feel like I should be a little bit more in frame. Actually, let me grab. I don't have anything that I can sit on that's comfortable. Never mind, I'm resigned to my fate. You guys should see the state of this place. It is I was gonna say rancid and wretched at the same time. Reading but British. Yes, we're going back to reading but British. We're a bit British. We're not. We're 0%. I don't know. I have family there, but that's about all I can say on the matter. I don't know how much family. Here, we'll be fully festive and in view. Yeah. And excuse the jankiness of the chroma key going on. I would fix it, but I don't feel like it right now. You guys are just gonna have to deal with this. So. Starting at the first sentence on the page, 72. Modern capital has therefore brought about a fundamental dislocation between filiation and alliance by simultaneously deregulating alliance and abstracting it from all kinship implications. The primordial anthropological bond between marriage and trade is dissolved in order that capital can ethically and geographically quarantine its consequences from itself. The question of racism, which arises under patriarchal capital as the default of a global trade in women, and parentheses, a parochialism in the system of misogynistic violence, the non-emergence of transcultural exogamy, end parentheses, is thus more complex than it might seem, and is bound in profound but often paradoxical ways to the functioning of patriarchy and capital. Systematic racism is a sign that class positions within the general parentheses, transnational end parentheses, economy is being distributed on racial bias, which implies an effective, if not judicial, apartheid. Kant was able to remain bourgeois without overtly promoting racism only because he also remained an idealist, or in other words, a Christian, parentheses, a cunning Christian, as Nietzsche calls him, end parentheses, and identified universality with ideality rather than with power. Kant's economy of the concept, which the assimilation of experience into an exchange of simulation of experience into a system of, and we are on the next page. Did it not change it? There you go. System of exchange values is irresistible in principle, and thus does not recognize a problem of rebellion. It is only with the implicit recognition of the need for systematic evacuation of rebellion from the metropolis by means of geographically distorted labor market that racism arises in its contemporary form, which is ultimately that of a restricted franchise, parentheses, on a national basis, end parentheses, over the political management of the global means of production. It is no longer a question of taxation without representation. America referenced. What? Parentheses, exception by means of interest payments, end parentheses, but rather a metropolitan capital seeking to abstract itself from all political reference, becoming offshore, although not to the extent that it loses its geopolitical condition of existence, parentheses, the US war machine, end parentheses. The increasingly rigorous differentiation of marriage from trade, or politics from economics, finds the ultimate conceptual definition in the thought of a moral agency which is utterly impervious to learning, communication, or exchange. In his second critique, the critique of practical reason, it is in his second critique, the critique of practical reason, that Kant capitalizes upon the ethno-ethical consequences of the first, that justice must be prosecuted without negotiation. Kant's moral theory is an ethics of appropriative modernity and breaks the parochial or scriptural morality of the Ancien Régime. How are we doing? Still legible? Are we still parsing this? We're doing good? Yap in chat! I don't want to be alone here. Yap with me, or yap amongst yourselves, but in chat. Or I'll die of loneliness, I think. The Judaic, Christian, and Islamic moral codes served as legislations, imperial projects in their periods of ascendancy. Kantian morality is inversely legitimated. Yes? You're eating food. Okay, that's fine. So long as you're eating food. I don't know. If anyone's in Discord, tell them to yap in chat here so I don't feel so alone. I'm so lonely. Nodding my head to show I understand. I'm so glad you're doing great, Gukanaru. The real Gukanaru. You're doing great. Of imperial projects in their periods of ascendancy, Kantian morality is inversely legitimated by the position of imperial or universal jurisdiction. Only that is moral which can be demanded of every rational being unconditionally. In the name of an ultra-empire, Kant names the empire of ends. Reich der Jurek. I don't know. Anyone that knows German can pronounce that, and don't hate me for not pronouncing it correctly. The law of this empire is called the categorical imperative, which means a law stemming solely from the purity of the concept, and thus dictated by the absolute monologue of colonial reason. In purity of categorical morality and the incestuous bloodline of the pharaohs is still detectable, but sublimated into an impersonal administration. The law that which cannot be legitimately discussed, and which is therefore an unresponsive or unilateral imposition. My thoughts on physics. Physics is something that I haven't had to do any work for in a while, unless I'm like listening to. Well, actually, no, that's untrue. I guess I do fall asleep often to like quantum physics lectures, but that's because I don't even want to say like quirked up. That's just actually fucking weird. I just find it really calming. Like I know way too much about string theory because of it. It's not that I like you can't learn anything when you fall asleep. I believe that's a myth. But I do like falling asleep to it because I get the general basis and then I come back, usually when I'm bored and awake, and I'll listen to the lecture in its entirety. Stop! Oh my god! Wait, did you say something earlier? Did you say what? 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 Hi, Stop! How are you? Okay. I'll continue. I shall continue. The law that which cannot be legitimately discussed, and which is therefore an unresponsive or unilateral imposition. It is not difficult to see that the second critique, Invest is bad 10 out of 10 book. I'm ordering it right now. The evilness blocked my message. What message? I have finished. Welcome back, Levin! Okay. Let us continue. Oh. But please, yap in this chat so I don't feel so alone. Please, yap about literally anything. As I discuss the works of a man who wrote an article called Hyper-Racism. Please look that up as well. He's about his racist... I assume he's probably some sort of a nouveau manifestation of Lovecraft, including in his references to the old ones in his prior works. You must go shower? Oh, that's fine. Leave chat open. That's all I ask. I didn't say anything. What did I only said oh yeah, no, that's you can look on if you look up there's like an alt-right blog post that I found. It's dated I believe October 13th, 2014 by Nick Land called Hyper-Racism, which he explains his views on race and also kind of sublimates it into a class argument for you. It's like a eugenics but like eugenics sublimated into class because to colonize space, essentially. Stop said. Well, yeah, no, we're not gonna argue on the basis of Nick Land's views on things that are more culturally appropriate. Oh, by Nick Land himself. Yes. Yes, Nick Land wrote of an article called Hyper Racism. Quite an interesting read. Very short, honestly. It was only like not a couple paragraphs, a few paragraphs long. I read it in like 15 minutes. Quirky white boy explains his thoughts on race. Literally everyone on 4chan, though. But, this is the classical right Hegelian thing, isn't it? No, it's actually, he brings it into like, I want to say, like it's like a very anti-humanist stance where he essentially argues that for colonization of like other planets in the far future, because he's his prior works for the CCRU were a lot of like science fiction. I can't explain them that well because I haven't finished it. I've read a few excerpts, but Fanged Noumena is right now where I'm at. Hyper racism as opposed to slow racism, hyper racism as opposed to like lethargic racism, I guess. But yeah, no, it's not like a classical right Hegelian thing. I wouldn't even classify him as a Hegelian. Say he's like kind of wankery, absolutely. I'd say he's kind of he's like, well, he's literally the one that kind of popularized right accelerationism. So he is quite literally an alt-right accelerationist. So, quirked up white boy explains that we should actually speed up eugenics because colonization of other planets. Phrenology type guy? Not even phrenology. No, he doesn't care about where you came from. He cares about your fitness and aptitude to go colonize another planet. That's what he cares about. I mean, as of 2014, I don't know about his views now. He's still on Twitter, though. Apparently, he's in a group chat with a mutual of mine, who is she's a Hegelian e-girl. The only one that actually kind of commands any respect in the space, I would say. But or not respect in the sense that she actually understands Hegel. In the way that other people performatively understand, if you're catching my drift. But yeah. Enough gossip on my end. Yeah. Listen, if you try to say that you understand Hegel, I'm just going to look at you blankly and be like, because genuinely, ASI will save us from dysgenics and birth rate collapse. Gravitas? Wait, are you also someone from Discord or a new person? Okay. With that, I think I've taken a little bit of a detour break, so, um, Birth rate collapse. Honestly, I do kind of have an opinion on the birth rate thing because Stop and I are both antinatalist, although Stop is definitely an like a Benatarian antinatalist, if I'm correct. Gravitas, you're from Twitter. Twitter handle, if you don't want, if you feel like disclosing. If you feel like disclosing, sorry. But I'm more on like the ecological perspective of antinatalism on that spectrum because I feel as though, the next generation is probably going to have some sort of climate apocalypse going on, and I feel like if I contribute a another life to perish in that, I have done something morally abhorrent. That's my stance. Custom wetware. Have we interacted before? Welcome to the stream. But yeah. So, and I think correct me if I'm wrong here, because we had this debate a while ago. I think you're still a Benatarian antinatalist, no? But, yeah, I think. And the Benatarian antinatalist argument, I feel like, is one. Um, you're the next generation. Are you Gen. Wait, what is it? Gen Beta? Ending my bloodline out of spite. So real for that, the real Gokunaru. Um, I don't know, I guess maybe. Because we have we did the little diagram of like, whether or not existence was like and I'm gonna get into, we're gonna get into the semantics of it because I can't exactly remember the words, that Benatar used. But essentially, like, so long as there is suffering, so long as human life requires suffering, life is therefore moral. I'm horribly like simplifying that argument, but we agreed, or sorry, I think Crack and I agreed that, oh, Crack, I miss Crack. Where'd she go? I still have her, but be here supposedly for the climate apocalypse, presumably. I mean, we might all be here. It might be coming faster than we assumed, but only one way to find out. Benatar is so funny. I would say, I don't know if I find Benatar funny. If not, like, I find him more, because he's South African, right? So it's just like, I feel like he's just seen some shit. And it kind of shows. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on antinatalism. I feel like if you're going to have a child for the sake of, transcendence, and it ties into like terror management theory and all that jazz, because we can go into like Ernst Specker's like death denial and how we use different ways of like copes to like transcend death, essentially, and one of those main ones being children and progeny, because my genetics will continue on like through them, even though when you think about it, I can't even really name anyone who isn't like a grandparent. The closest thing to a philosophy class you ever taken? Really? I mean, I guess I am philosophy pilled, but I didn't I well, I can actually argue often with people who have PhDs in the matter, and I can hold my own quite well, depending on the subject. But yeah. I'm more so I'm I align heavily with Epicureanism, but lately I'm getting kind of like completely disenfranchised with like modern philosophy, mostly because it's just absolute like academic jargon. Like, you're like reading this, no one understands what most of these words mean. Stop gatekeeping with your vocabulary. It's like you're trying to like show off, but it's really annoying. And you're like being semantically pedantic for no absolute reason, because if you just simplify what the fuck you're saying, people can actually like dissect whether or not they agree with your ideas, and you don't just like have yourself in this small little circle of like people that can understand you. Oh, hi. Pop philosophy? No, this is we're past pop philosophy in the realm of Nick Land, although I guess he technically had a popular stint. 99% of it is jargon. Yeah, true. Yes. Wait, who's Lonkin? À la lettre. Yes. Okay, shall we continue? Continue yapping in chat about your thoughts on Nick Land or philosophy. Actually, name your favorite philosopher and why in chat, and then argue about it while I continue reading. Return to Aristotle. No, you sound like Ayn Rand. Shouldn't even like him for the right reasons. But anyway. Where did I stop? It is not difficult to see that the second critique distills the xenophobic violence of the first and elevates it to the most extreme possible fanaticism. Where theoretical knowledge is open to limited negotiation with alterity, practical or moral certainty is forbidden. Forbidden from entering into relation with anything outside of itself, except to issue commands. Kant's practical subject already prefigures a deaf Führer, can't pronounce that for the life of me, Führer, barking impossible orders that seem to come from another world. Kant makes a further strenuous effort to push forward the horizon of a priori synthesis in his third critique, the critique of judgment. In the first critique, if the first critique corresponds to appropriative economy or commodification, the second critique corresponds to imperial jurisdiction. The third critique corresponds to the exercise of war at those margins of the global system that continue to resist both the market and the administration. It is concerned with the type of pleasure that is experienced when an object demonstrates an extrajudicial. Oh, am I still on? Oh, change page. Extrajudicial submission or abasement before the faculty of judgment, an experience which Kant associates with the contemplation of beauty. The first critique already exhibits a concept of excess or a priori synthesis that generalizes the principles of the labor market to all objects of theoretical cognition and transforms the understanding into a form of intellectual capital. In the third critique, there is far more aggressive concepts of excess, which generates a feeling of delight, because it is essentially extortionate. Extortionate? To extort. I'm not seeing any favorite philosophers in chat. Come on. Your mother? Stop! What the heck? The success is not a surplus of certainty stemming from dimensions of objectivity possessed in advance of intuition, and thus by right, but rather a surplus of purchase upon the object. Kant argues that we have no transcendental right to expect natural laws to be sufficiently homogeneous for us to grasp. When confronting the heterogeneity of intuition, reason must engage with a kind of Pascalian wager, assuming an intelligible, there we go, system of nature, because it has nothing to lose by not doing so. The submission of the outside in general to the inside in general, or of nature to the idea, i.e., conquest, is not guaranteed by any principle. The capitalist feels a neutral satisfaction in the production of normal profits, but the conqueror feels exultation in the attainment of victory, precisely because there was no reason to expect it. Kant's advice to the imperial war machine in his third critique can be summarized as: treat all resistance as if it were less than you. Treat all resistance as if it were less than you might justifiably fear. Treat all resistance as if it were less than you might justifiably fear. Okay. The critique of judgment thus projects the global victory of capitalized reason as pure and exuberant ambition. The only possible politics of purity is fascism, or a militant activism rooted in the inhibitory and exclusive dimensions of metropolitanism. Racism as regulated, automatic, and indefinitely suspended process of genocide, parentheses, as opposed to the hysterical and unsustainable genocide of the Nazis, and parentheses, is the real condition of persistence for a global economic system that is dependent upon an aggregate price of labor approximating to the cost of its bare subsistence, and therefore upon an expanding pool of labor power which must be constantly stimulated into this market by an annihilating poverty. If fascism is evaded in metropolitan societies, it is only because of a chronic passive genocide. Hold on. Of all the fucking times to not have a comma somewhere, land, you choose there? Commas everywhere, but not there. Okay. If fascism is evaded in metropolitan societies, it is only because a chronic passive genocide trails in the wake of capitalism and commodity markets as they displace themselves around the third world, disciplining the labor market and ensuring that basic commodity prices are not high enough to distribute capital back into primary producer societies. Weirdly leftist take, might I add. You've always been a history nerd. Really? Mostly of most fallen off empires, the Spanish Empire, as opposed to the hysterical and unstable genocide of the Nazis. Oh, I need a mod. Someone help me mod in this god. I see. Nobody ever said land would have such frivolities like an editor or sensible grammar. I mean, you would imagine that the guy with his PhD and doing his thesis on, I believe, Bataille would actually use a comma in a place that would genuinely need it, but, you know, I stand corrected. Was it Bataille? I said Bataille with such certainty, but I actually completely forgot. Anyway. Oh no, there's a word in here that I don't like. Mostly because it's just like, you're a mod, what's up? No, I need Worm to mod Twitch because someone is posting dumb stuff. Okay, you go quiet. Um, how do I? Oh god, I don't remember how to do this. Uh, I'm not. Okay. Oh, shall we continue? So sorry for the. Oh no! What happened to other? Oh, I left it in here. Okay. Also, Nick Land, I think I'm platforming you, and I don't know how to feel about that. But I guess technically we stole our name from you, so whoops. Mm, the problem is that this kind of thing is is so many compounded levels of jargon that it loops back around into being hypersimplification and just dumping words onto the page that starts to look at. Yeah, literally, that's what Zizek does. That's my thoughts on Zizek, and that's why I'm very much like of the if you don't have anything intelligent to say, don't say anything at all. But this was my thing. I was trying to say don't platform it, but whatevs. I know. I feel like we can do Adorno next, honestly. I feel like that'll be refreshing, like a palate cleanser after this. But I feel like it is good to actually talk about what's in here because then people can actually dismantle it properly. Because if we just have it in its little echo chamber, then it just stays and it festers. And I mean, let me not take a, you know, extreme stance on Nick Land as it stands, but so far I would I feel as though it would be improper of me to have a legitimate stance on his work without having read it and listened or understood the arguments enough that I can dismantle it and be like, this is because also it's a sort of like weird you're gonna check out his work. Good luck reading hyper racism. I see the little racist in you, and it's pretty beautiful. Blue people should prefer blue people if healthy. If healthy, that is. Love you. Love you too, Ed. Ed. Wait, I can't read. Nelson? But at the same time, it's just like, oh yeah, no, Nick Land has an article published called Hyper Racism, published, I believe, October 13th, 2014. Nick Land on the alt-right blog posting website, blog or alt-right blog, something, I don't know. But I can, if mod, please post in chat. It's referenced somewhere. I can see if I can find the archival link, but I feel as though, is he the hyper racist? Yeah, no, he coined the term. I don't believe it was widely used unless like I think it was only used in reference to that article after that. But he is the hyper racist. Here, let me see if I can find it. It was quite funny. Gods, hyper racist. Ah, thank you. Yes, beautiful. Thank you, Doors. Here, we can pin that, yeah? Oh yeah, send some likes, guys, so that YouTube knows that I'm apparently relevant to watch. He invented hyper-racism. Yes, he sure did. Worm. He is a worm. I mean, you can't clip that. I didn't say anything. You can't clip it. I never said anything. Okay. If fascism evaded metropolitan societies, it is only because of... Oh, wait, no, we already read this. Oh, no, we didn't. If fascism is evaded in metropolitan societies, it is only because of the chronic passive genocide trails in the wake of capital in commodity markets as they displace themselves around the third world, disciplining the labor market and ensuring that basic commodity prices are not high enough to distribute capital back into its primary producer societies. Very Marxist. Super Marxist argument there, buddy. The forces most unambiguously antagonistic to this grotesque process are exogamic, or less humanistically, exotropic, which was the word I didn't want to be a thing. That makes me sad. Libidinal indiscriminacy. Thank you, Lynn. That will be the downfall of society. I mean, honestly, if you read a lot of his works, and this is like probably the least like jargon-filled thing that I've read from him thus far, it's still got like who the fuck I can't even read this in an English, like an American English accent, because it is so poshly British poshly British that if you cut, if I can't say exogamic, exogamic, like you can't, you don't, there are words in here. I remember I was reading one word, like god, there's so many words in here that you would just never think to say when using American English. It only comes like naturally when you're speaking in the world's most pretentious British accent. So the forces most unambiguously antagonistic to this grotesque process are exogamic, or parentheses, or less humanistically, exotropic, end parentheses. The synthetic energies that condition all surplus value and yet coexist with capital only under repression. A radical international socialism would not be a socialist ideology generalized beyond its culture of origin. Oh, we're a little bit past. But a program of collectivity or unrestrained synthesis that springs from the theoretical and libidinal dissolution of national totality. To get a world without nations would in itself guarantee the achievement of all immediate post-capitalist, post-capitalist social and economic goals. It is this revolutionary requirement for a spontaneously homeless subversion that gives an urgency to certain possibilities of feminist politics, since the erasure of matrilineal genealogy within the patriarchal machine means that fascicizing valorizations of ancestry have no final purchase on the feminine subject. The patronymic has irrevocably divested all the women who fall under it of any recourse to an ethnogeographical identity. Only the twin powers of the father and the husband suppress the nomadism of the anonymous female fluxes that patriarchy oppresses, manipulates, violates, and psychiatrizes. Surprisingly feminist take. Land? Go off. Alive once more. Welcome back! Yeah, surprisingly feminist take, but I think that's more so to critique things that are of a more Middle Eastern persuasion as it relates to his use of ethnogeography and identity. Anyway, by allowing women some access to wealth and social prestige, the liberation of patriarchy, the liberalization of patriarchy has sought to diffuse the explosive force of this anonymity, just as capital has tended to reduce the voluptuous excess of exogamic conjugation to the stability of nationally segmented trading circuits. The increasingly incestual character of economic order, reaching its zenith in racist xenophobia, is easily masked as a series of feminist reforms of patriarchy, as a decommodification of women, a diminution of the obliterating effects of the patronymic and return to the mother. This is the sentimental feminism that Nietzsche despised, and whose petit bourgeois nationalist implications he clearly saw. The only resolutely revolutionary politics is feminist in orientation, but only if the synthetic forces mobilized under the patriarchy are extrapolated beyond the possibility of assimilation, rather than being criticized from the perspective of mutilated genealogies. Genealogy, as a dissipation of recuperative origins, Nietzsche, not as sentimental nostalgia. The women of the earth are segmented only by their fathers and husbands. The praxial fusion is indistinguishable from the struggle against the micro-powers that suppress them most immediately. That is why the proto-fascism of nationality laws and immigration controls tend to have a sexist character as well as a racist one. It is because women are the historical realization of the potentially euphoric, synthetic, or communicative function which patriarchy both exploits and inhibits, that they are invested with a revolutionary destiny, and it is only through their struggles that politics will be able to escape from all fatherlands. In her meticulous studies of patriarchy, Luce Irigaray, did I say that correctly? Name of the father, yeah, bro. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh yeah, like this so that I'm boosting the algorithm, guys. Demono. Pro-feminist, pro-Marxist, racist. He's using the object of the oppressed feminine in a patriarchy as a sort of concept here more than he is actually advocating for anything, I would say. But that would be an interpretation. And probably just one that he understands the best. He's worked with a lot of women in his previous works, especially in the CCRU. I think Sadie Plant was one of the most major contributors. I don't know her works as well, though. So I would say if someone in chat wants to boost her and post some of her works, because I don't think she went down the alt-right pipeline before the alt-right pipeline even existed. I don't think she produced the alt-right pipeline. I feel like we can attribute that to Land. But Luce Irigaray, I hope I didn't pronounce that. I hope I didn't butcher that too much. Sadie Plant, thank you, Doors. Has amply demonstrated the peculiar urgency of the feminist question, although the political solutions she suggests are often feebly nostalgic, sentimental, and pacifistic. Perhaps only Monique Wittig has adequately grasped at the inescapably military task faced by any serious revolutionary feminism. Oh man, I was not expecting the Nick Land is actually a militaristic feminist take. That was not what I was expecting. What? Okay. I mean, I don't actually think that's the take here, but let's go. Perhaps only Monique Wittig has adequately grasped the inescapably military task faced by any serious revolutionary feminism, and it is difficult not to be dispirited by the enormous reluctance women have shown historically to prosecute the struggle with sufficient ruthlessness and aggression. There we go. Gotta throw in the sexism somewhere. Produce the alt-right pipeline, actual supervillain. Well, he's one of the he's a neo reactionary. Yeah, that's where he is. He was one of the main founding people of the Dark Enlightenment. So, we get works like this, but he threw a little like anti-feminist curveball there just right at the end. He just had to. The left tends to be evasive about the numbing violence intrinsic to revolutionary war, and feminism is often particularly fastidious in this respect, even reverting to absurd mystical and Gandhian ideologies. If feminist struggles have been constantly deprioritized in theory and practice, it is surely because their idealistic recoil from the currency of violence, which is to say, from the only definitive matter of politics. The state apparatus of an advanced industrial society can certainly not be defeated without a willingness to escalate to the cycle of violence without limit. It is a terrible fact that atrocity is not the perversion, but the very motor of which it struggles. The language of inexorable political will. A revolutionary war against a modern metropolitan state can only be fought in hell. It is this harsh truth that has deflected Western politics into an increasingly servile reformism, whilst transforming the nationalist struggles into the sole arena of rigorous contention against particular configurations of capital. But, as I hope I have demonstrated, such nationalist struggles are relevant only to the geographical modulation of capital, and not the radical jeopardizing of neocolonialism (inhibited by synthesis) as such. Victoria's third world struggles, so long as they have been successfully localized, do not lead to realistic post-capitalist achievements, and certainly not to post-patriarchal ones, since the conservation of the form of the nation-state is itself enough to guarantee the reinsertion of a society into the system of inhibited synthesis. For as long as the dynamic of guerrilla war leads to new men at the top, with all that this entails in terms of the communication between individuated sovereignties, history will continue to look bleak. For it is only when the pervasive historical bond between masculinity and war is broken by effective feminist violence that it will become possible to envisage the uprooting of the patriarchal endogamies that orchestrate the contemporary world order, with the abolition of inhibition of synthesis of the inhibition of synthesis, of Kantian thought. A sordid cowardice will be washed away, and cowardice is the engine of greed. But only the conceivable end of Kantianism is... Ooh. Hello. Oh my god, Icy. Thanks. Curtis Yarvin, and that's it. Weirdest, I guess not weirdest person to know from the Dark Enlightenment, but yeah. So EP, must let hair dry. Okay, let your hair dry, Lemon. Who's in chat? Who's here? Start yapping. I want to hear some yapping. Just about, I need to, this is making me a little weird. So you gotta help me out and just start yapping about just random lighter stuff. Because every time I look at this, it makes me want to cry a little bit. Oh, I'm also a little bit past this, I believe. Yes. I'm very much past this. Oh no, that's the final page that I was on. Are you starting a book club by reading problematic books, lol? I mean, I guess, is Fanged Noumena problematic? I think there's a case to be said about Fanged Noumena being problematic, but I think it's so fucking dense, it's hard to even have it be problematic. That's like calling Nietzsche problematic. Like, you have to fucking interpret that a million ways to even understand the fundamental basis of what he's saying. And to do that, you need to go through so much academic jargon to even... That's not very woke of you. Reading Nick Land in a Pornhub sweater. We could be woker. We could be woker. Listen, next on the agenda is Adorno. We love the Frankfurt School. Listen, we love the Frankfurt School. Slamming a car door is fascist. No, I think that's so taken out of context. I think Sylvie and I were talking about that, but yeah, it's not fascist. And also, Adorno is refreshingly easy to parse. So I adore that of Adorno. And also, actually has valid critiques. So I'm excited to read Negative Dialectics next, but I feel like we can go Nick Land, then Adorno, or we can alternatively do Nick Land and then something like a little bit more fundamental, like Plato, and then, or maybe like Aristotle, and then go Adorno. Problematic is probably the best way you could describe. Okay, yeah. Just I think the word that I would use for describing this text would be more so like, once again, neo-reactionary, cuz it's highly I don't want to say volatile, but ew, Plato. Listen, we have to get through dialogues. Yeah, problematic is definitely more of you can describe that to be more of a subjective term. But it's I wouldn't ascribe problematic so much as I would ascribe just entirely reactionary, in which one must form their own opinion. Interpretation of dreams now? Are we doing Freud? Stop! Do a text to speech, it'll do Freud or something, I don't know. Do I even have that function? Vitriolic? Yeah, maybe vitriolic. This doesn't read as... I feel like vitriolic has a sort of undercurrent of like there's so much emotion behind it, and maybe there is in this text, but it's so sublimated through academic jargon that I find it hard to call it vitriolic either. It's just extremely reactionary. Plato is like eating your vegetables. Yeah, yeah. Freud's knowledge is central. Listen, I will say Freud did... I've been reading more up on Freud since a couple years ago now. And I will say that prior to his actual like essentially like we'll call it reinventing of the field of psychoanalysis, and as it later led to psychology, things were based like, if you got a diagnosis and it was like, oh, you are just of poor bloodline, or and not poor in like the sense of poverty, but like, oh, you just are not, you're built different, and by different I mean wrong, or you're not of moral fortitude. So there's something morally wrong with you, therefore running under an undercurrent of religious tone there. So he was the one that brought it back to, oh, maybe it is the subconscious formed, and or not the subconscious, sorry. Maybe this is more to do with the family dynamic. Yes, shirt. You got to be more literate. Yeah. Built shit so real. Inferior of the soul. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm completely butchering this because I'm going off the top of the dome. But he was the first one to essentially say, oh, maybe it's actually in the process of raising someone that we, kind of form a lot of their personality. And it's not to do with one's uh, genetics and or moral fortitude, and then of course you have deconstructions of Freud after that. But I would say that even putting that very like modern, because we still have that as like a fundamental for psychology to this day, and we're still just getting deconstructive with it, unless you're talking about philosophy with like Deleuze and Guattari, who immediately went for the jugular on Freud, and they were like, actually it's schizoanalysis. But no, get it twisted. Don't speak to me about D&G. I am not a D&G fan. As someone who has read them in French, jargon. This is easy compared to D&G. Oh my god. We'll probably read D&G at some point, but oof. They're D&G. I don't think they meant to be as evil as they were, but they are definitely a form of evil. Yes. Well, yeah, land is huge on D&G. Where'd you get D&G in French? It's in French. You can find it online. Drain gang. Yeah, they're the drain gang because they fucking are draining. They absolutely just they're like they're vibe terrorists. D&G vibe terrorist drain gang. They drain you. But yeah, okay. Let us continue because we're on the last sentence before we get to the next chapter, which has an equally interesting name. But only the conceivable end of Kantianism can we end modernity, and to reach this we must foster new Amazons in our midst. Page 80. And then we have our next chapter, Narcissism and the Dispersion in Heidegger's 1953 Tracal Interpretation. Read in French. French is my first language, so I'm also sorry. But, yeah. It'd be like that sometimes, We have multiple people in chat. Just keep spamming. Someone spam likes. Someone put this out there. Martin Heidegger's thinking continues to have a massive and constantly growing influence on the development of modern philosophy in the formulation of its questions, the selection of its objects, in the constructions of history itself. Yet in this in itself might not be enough to explain why his 1953 essay on the Austrian poet George Trakl should be of any interest to us. Does Heidegger's essay perhaps present am I saying this correctly? Like and subscribe, yes. Thank you for whoever's doing the hearts. Hearts to you. Hearts. Narcissism mentioned. Yes, maybe. Not really. Trakl. It's Trakl, right? I'm pronouncing that correctly? I always read it and I never actually look up the pronunciation. Does Heidegger's essay perhaps represent Trakl to us in a way that is enlightening or informative? Does it tell us something about poetry, history, or language in general? Does it, in fact, succeed in doing anything at all? In his safely vacuous text on Trakl's poetry, Herbert Lindingberger writes, "It would seem gratuitous to I'm going to do this one in an English accent. It would seem gratuitous to complain of the wrong-headedness of Heidegger's approach to Trakl, for Heidegger does not even pretend to use the poets he writes about for any purpose except the exposition of his own philosophy. Well, I mean, I think anyone would do that in Heidegger's position, not to be like a Heidegger dick writer, but I'm not. Um, uh, when will we get to the Book of Enoch? When the apocalypse comes. I can't speak even if I'm not reading. We're here now. This is where we are. Um, when we get to the singularity, we'll get to the Book of Enoch. How about that? But Heidegger's study of Trakl seems to me con- oh wait. But Heidegger's study of Trakl seems to me considerably less successful than his study of Hölderlin. Oh, Lindenberger does not ask what meaning can be given to success within a history, like Heidegger's history of being, for which the proper sense of progress has always been the expansion of devastation, a history that is a history that is which has been perpetually deflected from thinking by a pervasive theotechnical tradition. Platonic Christian culture has made it not only possible but also imperative to think of poetry as the product of a poet, and, derivatively, as something to be used by a philosopher for the purpose of illustrating representational concepts. And it is in this tradition which directs us to ask about the usefulness and representation of adequacy of Heidegger's essay. Such questions are symptoms of a profound and positively constituted illiteracy, whose hegemony it has been the intellectual task of the postmodern age to question. As for Trakl, who failed to organize his desires according to the laws of his civilization, failed to keep a job, became addicted to opium, enmeshed in alcoholism, failed to defeat his psychosis and died of a cocaine overdose in military pharmacy. What would we be doing to him if he said he had succeeded as a poet, appropriating his delicate, futile ardor to a society that has forgotten how to despise itself? Trakl's traces are ruins of miserable. Trakl's traces are the ruins of a miserable, even horrific failure. A failure to adapt to or conform, to repress or sublimate adequately, to produce, resolve, comfort, or conclude. This failure is not merely a default, however, but a violent traumatic condition. The evolution of his style, if it is still possible to write coherently of such a thing, is a drive towards the dissolution of every criterion for evaluation. Oh, I'm getting into true psychology here. We're gonna have to wait a whole month? Yeah. I hate the Spanish Empire, but I love the story of Cortez and the fall of the Aztecs. We're not doing that history. We're not doing history, actually. We're just doing. Oh, am I on the correct page? Yeah. No, I skipped ahead. Yeah, um, I would say that Trackl's still on the Nietzsche train here. Like, I think most people that have most very successful um literary artists, we don't believe in history. So true, I see. She's right. But yeah, they don't have good ends, you know? I don't think most people know Nietzsche, presumably died of syphilis and alone, and his works were repurposed by his sister and her husband, who was an avid um political figure for the Nationalist Socialist Party in Germany. So yeah, he was a just repurposed Nazi. Gas leak. Was it a gas leak? Okay. I just remember the story of him like seeing the horse getting beaten in public and then falling to the horse and being like, "No!" No! Like, truly, what a horse girl. Nietzsche, horse girl. Waiting for the worms. You and me both, stop. You and me both. Can we make, like, I want to popularize the concept of Nietzsche being a horse girl over any of the stupid Ubermensch bullshit that people are, like, propagating today because it's such hog shit. It happens to a lot of authors, to be honest. Yeah, poets, authors, writers in general, those of a sensitive disposition. Nietzsche can never join our ranks. Stop, we have to let Nietzsche in. He can ride over a horse in the streets. On Maine, he cried about horses. Stop is Nietzschean? Oh my god, we did it. We did it. Stop is Nietzschean. You think the horse story is fake? I feel like I read, because I remember thinking to myself it sounded fake, and I remember I looked it up, and we are all horse girls under God. Nietzsche loves a beautiful mane. Do you mean mane without an eye? But yeah. Yes, horse girls. Nietzsche unites us all. Imagine him out in the sunset on some beautiful Auburn horse. That would have fixed him. I don't know about Auburn. I think a chestnut thoroughbred would have cured him. Definitely. You're from Philadelphia? Philadelphia with an F? I see I see you're not appropriating any sort of tropical culture. Okay, continuing. Hmm. 'Tis above all which he learns from his decisive encounters with Rimbald or Holderin. I can't pronounce these names. Holdelin. The traditional aesthetics which would distinguish a traumatic content from a perfectly achieved formal presentation loses all pertinence as Trackle presses language into the shadows. The last thing we should want is for Heidegger to master these traumatized signs. To learn from Trackle is to write in ashes. A long essay by Heidegger appeared in the 61st parentheses 1953 issue of the German literary periodical Merkur, which discussed the work of George Trackle. This mysterious text, at once intensely personal and strangely detached, was entitled George Trackle. Oh god. I can't. Ugh. I'm going to absolutely butcher this. Ein Erörterung seines Gedichts. George Trackle, a situating of his poetry. Why'd you have to include the German, man? It wasn't fucking worth it. The same essay, renamed Die Sprache in Gedicht, language in the poem, and now subtitled oh god. A situating of George Frankel's poetry, was later published in 1959 as the second division of Heidegger's book. Okay, you can tell he's on the amphetamines here, because my god, man. Stop it with the fucking... I don't know if you can see all of these parentheses, right? What the fuck is going on here? Stop. And German, just stop. You're not flexing. You're making it really hard to read. The essay which precedes it in the book, Language, is also concerned with Trackle, or more precisely, with the reading of a single Trackle poem, A Winter Evening. Oh god, and I was referring to it in the German. Language in the poem, in comparison, cites, with an S, no fewer than 43 of Trackle's poems in the course of a wide-ranging search for the wellspring of their peculiar language. Outside of these two texts, Heidegger makes only glancing references to Trackle's work, and to the impact it it had on his own thinking. The 1953 essay consists of 3 numbered sections of uneven length, prefaced by a short, untitled introduction or prologue. These basic partitions are not interrelated according to any conventional pedagogical principle, and do not unfold the stages of a developing argument. It is, for instance, very difficult to discriminate between the essay's 3 main sections in terms of theses or themes, since each successive section recollects the discussion of the last and subtly replaces it. To depict this complex progression, it is perhaps necessary to borrow the metaphor Heidegger himself calls upon, that of a wave, which describes motion coiling into an enigmatic pulsion and cyclical repetition. Yet the peaks and troughs that alternate with Heidegger's text do not follow the regular trace of an oscillograph. They cut a jagged and confusing path. As they rise, a distinct theme emerges, momentarily isolated from the maelstrom of interweaving currents. Due to the intensity of Trakell's language, and the momentum historically invested within it, each theme shatters into blinding foam when swept to its apex, and sinks again into swirling depths. In this essay, I shall only attempt to explore limited stretches along a single of these interwoven currents, pursuing elements of the reflection and dispersion of Heidegger's reading of Trakell's poem. His poem, this right here. I can't pronounce that. You can say it in your head. I'm not gonna type it into Google when I have all this streaming stuff open. I don't have an extra desktop monitor with me right now, so we're just struggling out here. We're gonna keep going, but I'm not pronouncing this right now. We're just going to see the word up there. We're going to pronounce it in our heads. Gonna know that I'm referring to this, and we're gonna continue. Ghostly dusk. Is that what it means? Wait, stop. Pronunciation check. Can you like put it in phonetics? Not even phonetics. That wouldn't be phonetics. Whatever the correct term is. Gilsch Damerung. I don't know. Jonkler? Yeah, for real. Heidegger's readings of poetry are perhaps most distinctively characterized by the refusal to participate affirmatively in the discourse of European aesthetics, and the associated project of rigorously bracketing subject-object epistemological there we go, categories. He argues that when these categories of aesthetics are carried into the domain of linguistics or other varieties of language study, they take the form of a distinction between a normal and a meta-language. The minimal notion of meta-language is a technical terminology which is distinctive to the critical or interpretative text. This terminology traces an ancestry for itself that is divergent in principle from that of the text to which it is applied. The kinship of thinker and poet is annihilated. At variance to the sedimenting, of metaphysics, Heidegger pursues a tendency towards the uttermost erasure of terminological distinctiveness. The language of poetry is not to be translated, but simply guided into a relationship with itself. And this guidance, it is not that, is not to be that of the thinker qua subject, but that of an impersonal thinking, which is no longer disguised in the cloak of philosophy. Philosophy would no longer be the guardian of this relation, since the epoch of philosophy is simultaneous with that of meta-language. Or, put differently, meta-language is preeminently the language of metaphysics. Ooh, Geistig Daimerung. Daimerung. Geistig Daimerung. Okay, cool. The more you know. You're telling me you're not using 12 Windows tiled comprehensively to the hacker like in a B movie? Yeah. I'm not in the mainframe, unfortunately. Leech. Leech? Okay. Cat hiss. Oh, leech. Okay. German is basically cat hissing language. Maybe. I don't know. I've heard people speak German and it doesn't sound very much. It sounds quite. I don't want to say normal, but yeah, it sounds very normal. So, as someone who's speaking, believe some German. But, mm, oh my god, more random German words that I must pronounce. What is, okay, you guys can see this one up here? We're just gonna fumble through this. I don't care anymore. The final essay in Unterwegs zur Sprache, I don't know, entitled Der Weg zur Sprache, begins by citing a sentence from most Novalis' 1798 text monologue, precisely what is most peculiar about language, that it only concerns itself with itself. No, that it only concerns itself with itself. Nobody knows. 'Tis from this thought of language accounting for itself in itself that Heidegger begins his meditation on poetry. The vocabulary for the meditation to stem from the reading itself. Indeed, thought is to be carefully dissolved into poetry, but only in such a way that poetry is strengthened in its thinking. Heidegger trusts that the key to what is said in the reserve of Western languages, while itself reserved, is yet to be elicited. He suggests, and I'll read this part in English. Lots of sh and hein, yeah. Keep yapping, chat. I want more, just put more stuff there, because we're getting dense, and I want to look back and see some happy SMH in my head. I'm sorry. My German is so piss poor. Never look at me to interpret any sort of German philosopher again. Especially not one like Heidegger who has a, very totally spotless history track record there. I don't think I've understood any of the text in the past 15 minutes. I can't tell what he's trying to say. I think he's alluding to a point in which he's doing a whole preface on Heidegger's point on poetry, and he's going to tie it into some larger message about narcissism and dispersion, of which I'm sure he's abstracted completely from their original, not original, but their most well understood and normal uses. Yeah, he's prattling. I think you're allowed to prattle on in your own book, though. I'll give him that. But it's prattling nonetheless. Stop. It's not for us to understand. It's for the hyper neo chuds to point at, while also not understanding. Mecha chuds, if you go off, I see. Listen, if the thing is that we're interpreting. I love. Okay, if we're looking at this, we're interpreting Tractable poetry through Heidegger, through Nick Land, and then an abstraction again through me. To you, live studio audience. This is why I say such works should not be allowed. Well, listen, when you have such a historically dense civilization as all of humanity, and what has made it through in written language, um, such things do not go past most people and just suck up the nastiness. Fascinating, yes. Yeah. So we're super down the rabbit hole of oh, okay. I see what he's going to get into here. Interesting. Waiting for the live studio laugh track. Maybe I'll program one. I don't know. Maybe I'll have someone. Maybe someone can be a mod, and like whenever I say live studio audience, they can like I don't hit some sort of a laugh track for me. That would be really nice. But yeah, I see. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna read is Heidegger trusts that the key to what is said in the reserves of Western languages, while itself reserved, is yet to be elicited. He suggests English, American English now. Thus released into its own freedom, language can concern itself solely with itself. This sounds like the discourse upon an egoistic solipsism, but language does not insist on itself in the sense of a self-centered, all-forgetting self-mirroring. As saying, the weft of language is the propriative showing, which precisely deflects its gaze from itself in order to free what is known into its appropriate appearing. And you can read that here, except chat's covering it, sorry. Keep saying nice stuff and keep just yapping in chat. Don't go on Discord. Stay here. Stay with me. Cause I can't read this by myself. I mean I can, but God, that would be a lot by myself. I don't want to subject myself to that. So I must subject it to all of you as well. Language is to be understood in a way that could be misread as a theory of narcissism, since it relates itself to itself, and this could be taken to be analogous to the self-regard of a subject enraptured by its own reflection. The discourse on language must therefore fend off a misinterpretation that threatens to appropriate it, or at least deflect it, into a psychoanalysis of the sign. At this crucial moment, the circle of language seems to symptomize a type of autoeroticism, displacing itself into a geometric figure of desire. Lacan referenced approximately twice now, I believe. In insisting that his approach to language is not to be confused with the disillusion of the subject into the unconscious energetics, and in the prologue of Die Sprech im Gedicht. Oh, sorry. Next page. Whoops. The reference to psychoanalysis is explicit. Heidegger marks a crucial historical crossroads in the interpretation of Nietzsche's doctrine of the cosmic circle, the eternal recurrence of the same. Heidegger seeks rigorously to distinguish his own reading of eternal recurrence as a last attempt to conceive the temporality of beings, as recapitulation of the history of being, as the circle of language, and even as Trakel's icy wave of eternity. From that which has been interpreted through the Freudian research program as the death drive. Someone get stop. As the economy of desire, and as the return of the inorganic. Return, which is perhaps the crucial thought of modernity, must now be read elsewhere. The disillusion of humanism is stripped even in the terminology which... Thanatos from Evangelion. So true, so real. Thanatos mentioned. Yup. Thanatos mentioned. I will say, I think, was it Nick Land that coined... No, it was Freud that coined Eros and Thanatos, right? Yeah, Death Drive. Previous sentence. The dissolution of humanism is stripped even of the terminology which, veils collapse in the mask of theoretical mastery, must be hazarded to poetry. Geilish Dämmerung. There was this one. That one. Is the only poem cited by Heidegger in its entirety in the essay, and this is of some considerable significance. Dissolving the unity and specificity of the separate poems plays a vital role in Heidegger's projection of uncovering a sight, Ort. that relates to the tracheal corpus indifferently and as a whole, up to the point at which, there we go, Gaelish Damerang. Laptop died. Welcome back, Doors. Oh, actually, stop. You are a good admin, therefore you get to be a mod. Yippee! Listen, you saw this one coming. You like being in positions of power. Just don't use it in unnecessary ways. Glump? No. Let the queen do her reign. Um okay. God, all these fucking German words. Just say it in English, man. Up to the point at which Gleichdämmerung is introduced, Heidegger considers the status of the site as the sole ontologically significant totality by splintering, rearranging, and repeating fragments of the individual poems. The resilient integrity of this particular poem in Heidegger's text might therefore indicate a special difficulty, one that obstructs the process of assimilation and resists the hegemony of this site. If this is so, it is possible that an issue is at stake. Once again, forgetting a comma, dude. If this is so, it is possible that an issue is at stake in the reading of this poem, which resists absorption into any readily communicable truth of tracheal poetry. An issue that perhaps remains in some sense exterior to a thinking dialogue with the poet, but one that also retains peculiar insistence. As Heidegger's reading unfolds, it comes to a closure of communication of precisely this kind. There is no unambiguous point at which the discussion of Geilisch-Dämmerung begins. It is approached through a discussion of the final lines of God damn it, dude. Again with the random German. Let me live. This one, if anyone wants to put a pronunciation up. Mod God. What do you mean every third message? Are you guys coming down on them that hard? Summers Nieg. Okay. Summer's Nieg, summer solstice. Just say summer solstice. What the fuck? Like Bill Nye. Oh. Naig. Okay. Summer's Naig. Is approached to a discussion of the final lines of Summer's Night, summer solstice, in which the steps of a stranger ring through the silver night, and a blue beast is brought to the memory of its path, the melody of its spiriting year. To this is conjoined the hyacinthine continents of twilight from the poem Unterwegs, Underway. Heidegger introduces the poem in order to address what is named in its title, without any hint that the perplexing figure of the sister is to haunt both here and in its later citation, displacing all other preoccupations. It reads... He just includes an entire part in German now. Am I subjecting myself to actually reading this out loud? Chat, decide. Send a bunch of hearts if you want me to read the German part. If not, I'm gonna fucking skip it, because fuck this guy. I might be torturing myself. Just a bit. Has English. Yeah, I know, but why include the entire German? Like, what? He's literally just trying to fill up fucking space. Yeah, just reading. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know German. I didn't take German. I took Latin, I took Japanese, I took Mandarin, I took French. And a bit of Italian, but that was only because of singing. Okay, yeah. Skipping. At the forest's rim, silence meets a dark beast. Quietly on the hill dies the evening wind. The plaint of the blackbird ceases, and the gentle flutes of autumn fall silent in the reed. On a black cloud you sail, drunk on poppies, the nocturnal pool, the starry sky, the lunar voice of the sister sounds unceasing through the spiriting night. The translation of beast for wild is of course unsatisfactory. In German, the word for wild denotes a feral animal, especially one hunted as game, and sometimes it specifies such animals as deer. In addition, it connotes wildness and wilderness, since the adjective wild exists in German as well as in English. Wild? Bro is flexing his knowledge of different languages. Yes, I know. Brother, you don't need to do that here. We don't give a shit. Furthermore, it is probably etymologically related to a similar word, wild, forest. This network of association seems impossible even to approach in translation. Such difficulties are particularly frustrating inasmuch as the translation must bear almost the entire weight of Trakhl's exploration of animality, and the further stresses of Heidegger's response to it. For Heidegger, the dark beast is clearly the blue beast, who negotiates the difference between animality and the opening of the horizon of being. Der Mensch. Oh, on a different page. Der Mensch. When are you gonna stream in Mandarin? No, never. My Mandarin's like awful, actually. The wildness of the beast is not swallowed by the forest. Instead, it gives the forest a margin. This margin is not fixed demarcation, and it is not illuminated by the light of day. The shadowy animal, trembling with uncertainty in the evening wind, is man. The blue beast is an animal whose animality presumably rests, not in its animalness, but rather that thoughtful gaze after which the poet calls. This animality is yet distant and scarcely to be registered, so that the animality of the animal noted here oscillates in the indeterminate. It is not yet brought into its Wesson. Where is that? Wesson. This animal, the one thinks animal rationale, humanity, is, according to Nietzsche's words, not yet firmly established. Fest Gelstadt. I don't know. Oh, night, Lemo. Good night. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Oh my god, Wormy's back. Hey, Worm. Gotta get ready for the Chinese Year of Prosperity. Oh, the Chinese Year of Prosperity is coming. Listen, that's something that we can agree with land on. Heidegger takes the weave of the distance separating humanity from the beasts of the wilderness to the rest in a type of thinking that is irreducible to adaptive biological calculation. Such thinking is rooted in the temporalization of the ontological difference, and is traditionally unified, if only confusedly so, about the thought of transcendence. Transcendental thinking has a peculiar characteristic of relating itself into the thematic of thought itself, a tendency which has been systematized within epistemological philosophy. Within the Western tradition, this type of cognition has been designated reflection. The human is that animal caught in the play of its own reflection. The line of approach that Heidegger follows in what is to be his first and sole decisive encounter with the poem begins with its final stanza. The starry sky is portrayed dar gelstit. Stage placed there, the stellan is always decisive for Heidegger. In the poetic image of the nocturnal pool, I'm just gonna skip over his fucking little words here. In the poetic image of the nocturnal pool. So our habitual representation thinks it. But the night sky is in the truth of its weft, this pool. Over against this, what we otherwise call the night remains only an image, namely, the faded and vacuous after-image. Nachbild. Also, perhaps also copy of its weft. And you can read that. Wait, no, that's over here. This part, yeah. We're on page, well, 93, but you can't see. Little bro thought Chinese golden age only come for one empire. They mad. Lucy, I love you. Oh my god. Welcome back from hell. Neo China arrives in the future. Where's Stop? I want to hear Stop's. Where's Eve? Actually, more importantly. Oh, and Twitch is getting an ad in about a minute. Sorry, Twitch watchers. Oh, quite a few of you here actually. Hi. Alrighty. Twitch chat is surprisingly silent though. You guys should say stuff. Your streamers are popping off finally. What? Are you... Am I your streamer? What? I don't understand. I don't like Twitch, this evil sauce. Listen, man, to be fair, I get a lot more functionality with Twitch, so I kind of appreciate that as opposed to YouTube, because YouTube's kind of like a little primitive and it doesn't give you a lot of options for customization or really anything. So I don't really appreciate that, but I like the fact that I can dual stream now. I'm trying to pay attention. My Zoomer brain is too wired on opium. So real. Oh yeah, you can see the spinny bruh emote. Yeah, no, this chat, I actually programmed this last night. I spent a really long time programming this chat last night. I'm trying to go for like a sort of cyber gothic brutalist look. I was talking to Eve Burt about it actually, because she's helping me kind of figure out how I want to do everything. So she might do the panels for my Twitch channel. Tamagotchi. What's a Tamagotchi? Okay. Shall we continue? The insistence that the night sky is in truth a pool is not irreducible either to Heidegger's phenomenological stubbornness or a defense to the primordiality of metaphor. It is far more intimately connected with the problematic spatiality in post-Kantian thinking. And beyond this, with the Greek thought of the heavens as... We're really going as far as to bring up the Greeks? Listen, I can't read this. Anyway. Oh wait, oh, it's the end of this page, so we're skipping to the next page. But you'll see it briefly here. This word at the end. We make it to page 92. These concerns are bound up with Heidegger's pursuit of that reflection which yields an image of human transcendence, and therefore marks a firmly established separation of Dasein from the psychology of animals. This pursuit is perhaps the aspect of Heidegger's work which is closest to the concerns of the ontotheological tradition. The point where his thinking is most human, all too human, but there is, nevertheless, something both crucial and technically precise at issue in this play of mirrors. The passage continues. The pool and the mirror pool often recur in the poet's poetry. The water, sometimes blue, sometimes black, shows humanity its own countenance, its returning gaze. But in the nocturnal pool of the starry sky appears the twilight blue of the spiriting night. Its gleam is cool. That's actually quite nice. Oh, I shouldn't have complimented him. Oops. You don't get paid on Twitch until you make affiliate, I'm pretty sure. I am an affiliate on Twitch. I'm an affiliate. Buddy is getting ads. I'm crying. Yeah, no, sorry. Okay. Yeah, no, I like the, oh, I posture check. Okay, sorry. I'm checking my posture. Yes, sorry. Yeah, I'm affiliate on Twitch. Moneybags. Nah, that's not me. Not through Twitch, at least. At least not recently. Crazy Pants. Nah. It took me like 2 months to get it, but I was streaming pretty often actually. I was streaming like at least 4 times a week, at the very least. Yeah, I guess I was pretty crazy pants about it. But continuing, the starry sky has an integral relation to reflection, but one which is of daunting complexity. Heidegger first turns to the pool itself, beside which humanity lies, lost to narcissistic reverie. Here, humanity gazes upon itself, as though we are not told whether, like Narcissus, this gaze is inflamed with desire. Heidegger finds the compulsive character of Trakel's imagery to be indicative of a repression, but one which does not seem to be, at least superficially, primarily sexual. He takes the reflectivity of Trakel's mirrors to exceed all representation and ontical objectivity. Whatever this fucking word is. Stop if you want to come in with a pronunciation for that one. We're trying to grow them out of stage 1. Okay, oh god, okay, I have to go drink water now. Okay, I'll be right back, We're on page 94. Where did I put my little, oh, here it is. So, water time, since it was redeemed. I should probably have an alert thing for that going off. I forget where that went, but I'll figure it out. Okay. Hydrate or dihydrate for 250 points. Anyone else who has points on my Twitch channel can redeem stuff, I guess. But I might make some tea, actually, because my, I don't know if you can hear, but my voice is getting kind of a little shot. I've been reading for about 2 hours now, or just talking, but I'll be right back, because I'm going to grab some water. I can either leave this up here so you guys can debate, or I can turn on the BRB screen with the bossa nova music playing. Up to you. Oh yeah, I need to stretch. Oh my god. For now, I'll let you actually flip a coin. Okay, so heads is bossa nova music. Hey Siri, flip a coin. Heads. Okay, bossa nova music it is. BRB. Hi. I'm back. We're so back. Yeah, we're so back. I didn't actually get water. I got a Coke Zero. Sorry. Um, you do have Mahou Shoujo powers. Stop. I believe in you. Also, Rocha, sorry. You can tell that we have 2 chats going on. We have our lovely Twitch chat and we have our lovely YouTube chat since we can dual stream now. Yes, a Coke Zero. I'm sorry. Listen, I wanted it. I wanted it. It's hydrating. I'm not dehydrating, so I kept to my word. Fake water drinker. I don't like the taste of water. I'm gonna be real with you, man. That was loud. Look at. Not a sponsor, so they don't get this, actually. No, I don't like the taste of water. We've been through this before. Water is top scran. Yeah, actually. It literally just, it's bad. It doesn't taste like anything good, and then it just like, bleh. It tastes like minerals, and it's not even usually good minerals. That's why I get super pedantic about my water filters. Because I only use, and not a sponsor, but Life Straw, because I trust that. I trust Life Straw. But I think growing up where I did, and maybe Icy can attest to this, we would get E. coli breakouts pretty often in like the tap. And so I'm just like, ugh. Like I literally test my water, and no matter what water filter I get, I make sure that I get like test strips as well. So that's why you drink White Claw. I'm not drinking White Claw. Listen, we're keeping it non-alcoholic and unsponsored. Vircha, how are you? Currently reading Nick Land's Fanged Noumena. And I'm currently hitting my green screen. The things in the water are not water. Yeah, but the water doesn't stop their taste from coming in, and that taste insults me. It's a tasteless taste, if you will. Okay. Seems like we're doing pretty good on Twitch. Although Twitch chat is surprisingly dead. Say stuff, guys. Um, non-alcoholic, then why read? You don't need to get drunk to read. At least I don't. Maybe some people do. If that is you, then I wish you the best, but that couldn't be me. I would have a very bad time. I don't know how to pop out how many viewers I have from my... Huh. Okay, well, hi, Twitch viewers. Ah, there's Wormy. Okay, fixing all of my screens. Twitch has a water problem. California has a water problem. That's what's up. Ah. Yeah, maybe I'll put stream goals. See, this is the functionality that I'm talking about that Twitch has that you don't have on YouTube, which isn't as fun. Like, what can you do? Like this thing? Which you should do, by the way, because don't let the algorithm suppress me. I hate the stupid overlords. Just let me like the video and I'll give you hearts. Hearts. When you're small, you have like at least you have like at most half the viewers it says you have. Really? Oh, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Do they like boost the numbers just to make you feel better? It's all almonds. An almond solution. All almonds all the way down. Well, with that, shall we continue? This is becoming quite perilous, actually, because look at how far we are. Hitting the hay, gotta be up early for work. Oh, okay. We're not in the same time. Or, no, you're kind of close to me now. I forgot, you moved close. Yeah. No, I've been well. We're chilling out here. But, dead billionaire. T. Clancy, its peak. So true. Yeah, we don't really... Weird that chat doesn't have the functionality to put GIFs in, isn't it? We'll be here to ring in the new year at this rate. So true, bestie. Look at this. Look at this. I think I moved close to you, Roja, but I won't dox either of us, so I think we talked about it briefly. But okay, let's continue with Nick Land's overly verbose bullshit. I mean, let me not dunk on him super hard, but it's just, yeah, this is really just like, oh my god, he's using Greek and German in this passage. I can't pronounce. Stop is in charge of pronunciation that I can read. Agalma. Hyperdox pipe bomb shipped. Agalma. The almonds all the way down. Bye, Roja. Thanks for dropping by. Kinder Surprise egg. So true. Agalma. Okay, so we have he takes the reflectivity of Trackle's mirrors to exceed all representation and ontical objectivity. Vorhem der Heit. Uh, Stop. Zizek speaks of this. I see such your beautiful mouth. It is the darkened pool. It is the darkened pool the gaze does not return in a familiar form. It reveals instead an abyssal twilit blue. I've seen that word recently, and I won't say from who. Twilit blue, which colors both the dawn and dusk of the spiriting night. The image of no thing returns. Reflection is shattered against the impersonal, against the impassive shade of a pure opening or cleft in beings. Humanity is thus reflected as the default of an ontical image, as a lack of ground or abgrund. Vorhandenheit. Vorhandenheit. Oh, you did it better. You saying it like that makes me actually able to read it, so that's helpful. Grund, is that close? Which is the transcendental condition of any possible ontology. The heavens are an abyss. I'm pretty sure that's Naxos, right? Oh, am I on the correct page? Yeah, here. Is that Naxos? Am I saying that? I don't think that's Naxos. I don't know. I can't read Greek for shit. As we follow Heidegger's discussion of Gleichdammerung further, this classical comprehension of chaos enters into a problematic negotiation with the contemporary. Excuse me. Chaos. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that is chaos, isn't it? That's really dumb that I couldn't see that. This is a negotiation which we, as we follow Heidegger's discussion of Gleichdammerung, further, this classical comprehension of chaos enters into a problematic negotiation with the contemporary sense of the word disorder. It is this negotiation which reopens the path to Treckel's most crucial explorations. As the reaching of Gleichdammerung proceeds, Heidegger's discussion suddenly changes key, without indicating that there is any thematic unity between the mirror and the mysterious figure who is now introduced, the sister. Since it's a sub-passage, different accent. The cool light stems from the shining of the lunar woman, Mondin Silana. So I'm assuming Selene from, I think Selene is actually both Greek and Roman, but don't quote me on that, because I'm forgetting at the moment. Because she was later syncretized with Artemis, later Diana. But anyway, bringing in her luminosity, as ancient Greek verse says, the stars fade and even cool. Everything becomes lunar. The stranger, firmed. Oh, am I on the correct page? Oops. Yeah. Defirmed. The German masculine. Oh, it's funny that the stranger. Defirmed. Stepping through the night is called the lunar one. The lunar voice of the sister. Which sound. Oh, sorry. Wait, no. Wrong accent. Oh no, I messed up. Sorry, guys. You didn't hear that. Everything becomes lunar. The stranger, der Firmder, the German masculine, stepping through the night is called the lunar one. The lunar voice of the sister, which always sounds through the spiriting night, is then heard by the brother in his boat when he attempts to follow the stranger a nocturnal journey across the pool, which is still black and scarcely illuminated by the stranger's goldenness. Switching back to Landian voice. The sister is allied to the moon, and thus to the luminosity of the night. Her power is to render the world visible. Her power to render a world visible holds sway in the epoch of world calumniating darkness, initiated by the flight of the Hellenic gods, whose end is heralded by the stranger's goldenness, which is the flickering light of a new dawn. It is the sister who guides the path of the wanderer throughout the nihilistic metamorphoses, during which the securities of ontotheology lose their authority and disappear into their twilight, and before the arising of which new thinking betrays itself only in scarcely perceptible hints. The sister is associated with transition, and with the indeterminacy of an unthreaded time. Even the corrupted seals that stamped the distinctive mark of scholasticism and theological apologetic are broken, and no new type has taken their place. Oh no! Since the death of God, there's been an opening. I shouldn't make that joke. The haunting voice of the sister is heard as the brother drifts away from the ancient genus of theological metaphysics and towards the genus of the stranger. Camus reference? Sisyphus reference? Question mark? No, I'm joking. Yet the sister's voice cannot be identified with the type of the past or with that of the future. It cannot be subsumed within that genre. The passage is not so easily reduced to even this tentative metaphysio-historical familiarity, however. Am I on the correct place? Or sorry. Yes, I am. Why more German, man? Oh my god. However, since Heidegger does not only mention the sister, but also Silana, the strangers, der Fremder, der Fremdling, the gender of das Fremde from Unterschwang zur Sprache. Stop, help? Where is this? Stop, help? What is... A W is a V. Okay. Unterwegs zur Sprache? Sprach? Unterweg. Sorta. Okay. Thank you for helping, kind of. I guess I need fucking German courses. Yeah. Close enough. Has now strangely metamorphosed. And the sister's brother, what is the meaning of this perplexing cast? What relation does Silana, the lunar woman, have to the sister, who speaks in lunar tones? Silana, David Farrell Carroll writes, Heidegger recollects the way the ancient Greek lyricists speak of the moon and the stars. Oh, cool. I get the fucking thing that I was referencing here thrown back at me. In the context of abscission, the confluent twofold, and Selene, who as Semele is the mother of Dionysus. In the classical myth, Semele is tricked by Hera into demanding that her lover, Zeus, reveal himself to her in his full presence. There are multiple interpretations of this. He also, puts the unborn fetus of Dionysus into his leg to finish gestating. So, yeah. I don't know where he's going with this one. Tricked by Hera into demanding that her lover Zeus reveal himself to her in his full presence, and when he does so, she is killed by his radiance, an event that might suggest some relation to the stranger's goldenness. But following this apparently unambiguous path quickly leads us to kind of mythological aporia, since, as Robert Graves notes in The White Goddess... Yep. The vine Dionysus once had no father either. His nativity appears to have been that of an earlier Dionysus, the toadstool god, for the Greeks believed that mushrooms and toadstools were engendered by lightning, not sprung from the seeds like all other plants. When the tyrants of Athens, Corinth, and Sicyon, I know this too. Okay, Selene and Hecate are two different goddesses. Artemis was later syncretized. Well, Selene was later syncretized into Artemis, and no, I see. You can't correlate all of these things. You make me mad. No, you know I like Greek mythology. Oh, welcome back, Real Good Kanaru. Welcome. But it's. Sicyon, like Sicily, you know? Because the Greeks kind of hit the Italian peninsula when they were trying to be empirical for a bit there. But, Sion, they're often mistaken for one another. Yeah, they are. I guess that's true. But yeah, no, I guess Vine Dionysus is referring to Pan, the god, but okay. When the tyrants of Athens, Corinth, and Sicyon legalized Dionysus worship in their cities, they limited the orgies, it seems, by substituting wine for toadstools, and thus the myth of the toadstool Dionysus came attached to the vine Dionysus, who now figured as a son of Semele, the Theban, and Zeus, the lord of lightning. Yet Semele was the sister of Agave, who tore off her son Pentheus's head in Dionysic frenzy. Dionysiac, there we go. Yeah, Melanoia is very similar to Hecate, but there is Hecate. I think it's because of the trifold thing, because Hecate has a bunch of different goddesses that have been syncretized, and then desyncretized, and then syncretized occasionally again back into her, especially as it relates to any of the the chthonic goddesses. But yeah. That's what happens when you have a trifold goddess. But I think something about Nick Land and not accelerationism, but another part of his philosophy alludes to the fact that within everyone there are three distinct multiplicities. Probably butchering that, but maybe we haven't gotten to that part yet. The attribution of the patrilineal genealogy to Dionysus is complicit with a project of repression, an intoxication that came from nowhere, from a bolt of lightning, is asked to show its birth certificate. Wine, which Plato will later accommodate even to dialectic, displaces the fungus in the Dionysian cults, Montia muscaria, The sacred mushroom of the cults is held to be responsible for those socially unassimilable deliria, which are a threat to the. Okay, I'll learn Greek because this is embarrassing. I know too much about Greek history, philosophy, and mythology to not be able to read it. But he's talking about the Dionysian cults, which like have such a long history that I don't know if you can really like sublimate all of that into a very cutesy little take on it. But sure, go on that. I think I'm just being hypercritical. Three distinct forms of existing within every person. Close enough. Welcome back. Freud. So true. I don't think Nick Land's views on Freud are um positive, I believe. I don't remember. Someone fact check that. But what is the relation between this ancient policing of policing of social pathology and Heidegger's interpretation of Trakel? How can a bridge be built between such an ontic empirical history and to the onto-transcendental question concerning the site of poetry? Oh, thank you, I see. Oh, wait, are we not on the... Oh, yeah, no, we're not there yet. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm covering most of this stuff, sorry. But, okay. Where is everyone? Don't stop. Don't say that name in this chat. I hate you. I hate with such deep dislike. No. Bad. No. How can a bridge be built between such ontic empirical history and the onto-transcendental question concerning the site of poetry? The spanning of such a gulf has been hindered by the medicalization of the history of derangement and its reduction to the historical and psychiatric study of madness. But this regional investigation has nothing other than the contemporary instance of that discourse of the... Where can we see that word? Ah. Anyone want to look this up and see how to pronounce it? You just peep the sweater. Every philosopher wishes they were an emo girl in 2009. Everyone, period, wishes they were an emo girl in 2009. Not philosophers. Polis, thank you. I. Did I really walk that much today? Damn. Okay. I knew from the Matrix just wants to be Trinity from the Matrix. True. Okay. But this regional investigation is nothing other than the contemporary instance of that discourse of the polis, which first instituted a genealogy of Dionysus. Such a construction patently fails to mark the inherently delirious character of Western history, and, therefore, of scientificity itself. Scientificity, really? Really? Scientificity? Shut the fuck up. This is not only a matter of ontotheology being rooted in a specific amnesia, a delirium integral to the Western graphic order implies, more radically, that any possible history must arise out of the forgetting (or secondary repression) of a constitutive archaeamnesia (the ellipsis integral to inscription). Something evilness? Really makes you feel like you're reading something smart when you have to look up the words that mean totally normal things but are in a script you can't read. Truly. Such a genius thing on display. Very true. It's evilness. Yeah, I just like, it makes me feel like I'm looking back on my writings back in university and when I was trying to flex. Which, considering 1987, I don't know when this particular, um, Narcissism and Dispersion by Nick Land. If someone can look up when he put out that article, we can date this. We can see how old he was, because maybe he was like in his 20s, like 19 or something. I don't know. And then explain all of the fucking name dropping and also all of the fucking different languages. Stop. Stop it with the German, man. It's not worth it. Stop. This would not be allowed under my empire, sister. Are you empirical, I see? Why do I have a Pornhub sweater? Funny story. One of my friends, now not friend, actually gave this to me because she was dating a very famous porn star. I believe his name is something, it sounds like two first names, and they both start with A. It's like Alex Adams or something. Empiricist cord, so real. So she dated him for a little bit and they broke up, but he gave her the sweater during that time period and she hated him. So I was like, can I have it? And then she gave it to me. And here it is. Oop. Look away. I'm around so many sinners. Don't. They were in a committed relationship. Stop. How dare you? Call them sinners? What even is the point of philosophy if not to feel smug about understanding it? I think that's the current consensus on the matter. So philosophy itself, I think, should not be academically gatekept, especially not to this extent. Because at this point, it's just academic, like, sucking your own dick. So, the light of God will save them. We're all sinners in this world, sister. Yeah. Tell her. But yeah, no, I think honestly, philosophy as it relates to things that are generally useful to a populace are things that should not be gatekept. So this whole like academic autophallacia, we'll call it, is just entirely devoid of any sort of substance or anything that benefits society. Because realistically, when we look down at what Mr. Land is trying to say here, or is it Doctor? Yeah. Um, we get down to hyper racism. Is that really useful? Is it like genuinely? Um, Bugs Bunny. That's so funny. Where are my happyans? Oh God. Let's use the happy camera. But I'm so tired of the academic autofill. It's not even academic gatekeeping that leads to autofillatia when you just are reading your own work and you're like, I am so smart. And don't get me wrong, I'm occasionally hypocritical in this sense as well, but like, oh my god, it is just so annoying to read because we get it. You were bullied in high school and you want some sort of power fantasy. Monsieur Lecan? Yeah. Sorry, we're all referencing a show we've seen but you have not. Oh, that's so mean. Leaving me out? I don't know what the happy camera is. Actually, it's because of the structural aspect, and I hate my analysts and such. Inbred philosophy. Oh no, we already read through the first chapter on incest. Sorry, Kant, Capital, and the prohibition of incest. But yeah, no, I don't think it's fucking like you can deconstruct, reconstruct, whatever, what fucking have you, but like at the same time, a lot of these things like, generally just obfuscated for no fucking reason. And Chomsky was right to call Lacan and Zizek and whoever the fuck else he called charlatans, because they just use language in this way that's just extremely convoluted for the fucking layman, and you can't use anything from it except maybe Zizek sometimes. But like, who the fuck is going to not? Who's going to raw dog Hegel and like get anything out of that? You know? We could fix it by watching Taco P's Original Sin. I don't watch media by myself. I'm actually moving in with a friend soon. We're gonna have movie nights. So that'll be fun. Well, you have Doors, you have like experience in philosophy already. You have a general understanding, you know? I mean raw dog in the sense of like someone who has no basis, no foundation. Lacan is not useless, but it should be more like 200 pages instead of 1,200. Yeah, no shit. And also the diagrams just purposely obfuscate the point. Like, le petit object A is just like, desire is unattainable. Ooh, whoa, we did it all! Like, come on. So, I don't know. I just think, like, you can condense all of these things into a more succinct point and be less of a fucking sophist about it. I've never studied philosophy formally though. That is not something that one need do unless they have the additional capital to do so. Except I guess I don't know. Is it cheaper over abroad where you're at? But let's keep it going. Klosowski even oh sorry, I forgot my accent. Um has even been led to suggest that Western science is an aphasiac because it is initiated by the default of a foundational discourse. This default is not merely a passively accepted pathology, it is an inscripted, prescribed, or actively administered pharmacopathology. The response of the West to the writing of itself has been that of a poisoning. This is why the fact that Silana substitutes for delirium without origin, which is equally a delirium of origins, seems to resonate with what Derrida entitles an uh, agression pharmacologique. And he can fuck off with the French too, but I can actually pronounce that properly. Thousands of dollars for a degree. Supposed to sell books, but people buy but don't read like that. Oh, it's cheap if it's single digit thousands. Yeah, I see. You and I are on the same page. If it's single digit thousands, oh, posture check. Okay, thank you, Worm. I'm sorry for slouching. Posture check. Here, let me get a little bit more in frame. Eek. Oh, yeah, and I didn't switch the page. I see. Can I put you in charge of telling me when to switch the page so that I don't forget? In Norway, anyone can get a university education for free. The tuition is just a symbolic sum. Ooh, he speaks French. Yep, I sure do. Agression pharmacologique, even though it's spelled wrong. 2-digit thousands. Yeah, no, two digit thousands are not. We're talking more in the six figures doors. Sorry, and that's at the base minimum. Okay, posture check though. I said I would. Okay. In Trackle's Geilish Damerang, The Path to Pharmacon, the intoxicated voyage across the nocturnal pool seems to evade Geschelt. Stop. What's this one? Geschelt. Yeah, doors. For a degree, it's like 6 figures in the US. As he says, yeah, if it's 2-digit thousands, then it's like working part-time for a single month. Ain't nothing like that but ain't nothing but a peanut. Yeah. No, it's definitely insane. It's insane. You can get crazy scholarships though, I'll say that. Geschlecht. Okay. Wait, did you? Oh, okay. Geschlecht. Why does it sound German when I say, or not German? Why does it sound Russian when I say it? Geschlecht. Geschlecht? I don't know. The general source of typography. Instead, it crosses the starry sky, through which the lunar voice of the sister resounds. A problematic of the moon is introduced, demanding some minimal gesture of interpretation. Perhaps to speak of the lunar in this fashion is simply to speak of the way things appear in the night. In the poem Der Heimat, I got that one right at least. For instance, the sister is seen asleep bathed in moonlight. Fucking Christ. Der Schwester schlaf ist schwör. Fuck me. Der Naschwind wollt in ihrem Haar das Mondner Glanz umspult. +1 correct German counter. Are we doing +1, +2 for like you did a good job? The sister's sleep is heavy. Or sorry, this is a quote, so. The sister's sleep is heavy. The night wind burrows, in her hair bathed in the gleam of the moon. Oh god, that is such a lengthy fucking footnote. I am not reading that. This apparent reduction or simplification of the problem only displaces our difficulties, however. The Trachlean night Nacht, I know that one, is, as we have seen, the time of derangement. Umnachtung, I don't know. Connascent, perhaps, with the mania that stems, like the moon, and mind, from the Indo-European road. Men's. Okay. +1 to the correct German counter. Oh. You should read Totem and Taboo with its 2 third-page long footnotes. No! Okay. Okay, I didn't know +2 was specifically that. That's funny. You would think that I would know that at this point. Let's check to see how the stream is doing on the dashboard, the manager. Okay. I've gotten my fill. I've seen all there is to see in this wretched waste. I joke, I jest. Anyway. My god, this man's fascination with fucking using German for literally no reason. Like, why, man? Wait, stop. You're telling me is Freudian? Does Nick Land even speak German? I mean, I don't. One might assume at this point, but he could just be copying and pasting, because this could be fucking from. Someone look up, Doors, look up when Narcissism and Dispersion by Nick Land was written. David Foster Wallace. Stop. That the moon is associated with women is indicated in the etymological relations between moon, month, and menses. but it is also the companion of lunatics and werewolves. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Werewolves did not actually have a moon association until, like, the fucking 40s in Hollywood, buddy. What are you talking about? Figures with whom the reader of Trackle is certainly familiar. It is fittingly in the culminate. Oh, sorry, no. Werewolves didn't have any sort of lunar association until Dracula, because they called him, uh, Vertung or something. I don't know. It was a word that is related to both vampire and werewolf, like somewhere in between the two, but mostly relating to werewolf. But yeah, essentially, they werewolves only got their moon association like pretty recently. So I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway, figures with whom the reader of Trackle is certainly familiar. 'Tis fittingly in the culminating lines of Traum und Umnachtung that this imagery crosses a climatic threshold. I'm not subjecting myself to more fucking German, dude. Oh my god. Narcissism and Dispersion was published in 1990. Whoa! How old was Nick Land in 1990? Doris, can you also look it up? +1 to the evidence. Land doesn't know what he's talking about. Calendar real. Things don't need to be actually true to feel true, therefore. Thank you, Doors. Things don't need to be actually true to feel true, and therefore be usable as evidence. Quite literally. Literally! But yeah. How old was Nick Land in 1990? Because if he's like around 1920 in that time frame, makes sense for why he's doing all this weird, stupid linguistic flexing. He was 28? What? Holy shit, man. I write better than this. Sorry. Uh, Yikes. Oh, I don't do that. Don't insert just random fucking excerpts in a different language that no one wants to parse through. Go-to bagel order. What's my go-to bagel order? Um, Dog, I love my fucking lox with some cream cheese, often some dill. Oh my god, anything from. Oh, they have like the best freaking smoked salmon with dill at Trader Joe's. They don't have Trader Joe's up here. Can you believe that? It's so awful. No one clipped the favorite bagel order. No one clipped that. Grown ass man writing like he just went through his first bagel. Clip that. Clip that. Why do you want to clip it? What? I got bagel psyop. What? What have I done? Man, I miss Trader Joe's. Having a Trader Joe's bag up here is funny because people use it as like a status symbol because it's like everyone has reusable bags because plastic bags are I think outlawed. You guys clipped Ben's go-to bagel order? You're not clipping mine. I don't even think I have clips available on. Do I have clips available? So I don't know. Do I? Left to the unknown. Okay. So then I'm clipless. You guys can't prove anything. Actually, Montreal has really good bagels. Yeah. I actually went to get bagels with Ben. So. Oh, that was a while ago. It's a really good place in Montreal, though. I forgot the name of it, but it has like a really silly mascot. It's like a little bit. Let me not go. I'm gonna go down like the. Oh, I miss Montreal. I want to go back. Not like move there, but I want to go back for like the holidays and stuff. See family. Eh. Montreal is scary. It is kind of scary, I'm gonna be honest. But it's probably like Once you actually get acclimated, it's quite nice. And the freaking, oh my god, it's so pretty. Like, it's so beautiful. Squirrels climbed on me, though, which was okay. See? I see you enjoying the beauty of the wilderness in, um, you know what? Fuck it. I see. You get mod privileges, too. Because I feel bad leaving you out. Wait. Yes. Yes. I trust you guys. Yeah, no, we do have the same, bagel order. I mean, the thing is that, like, when something's good, it's just good, you know? You're blue, yes, it fits. Although, in the chat here, you're purple. I did actually, so these colors are from one of the, Evangelion, HUD interfaces for, like, the mental toxicity level. I'll see if I can find a photo. Um, See, this is why people have more than one monitor. So I got the colors from here. I want to have the interface look a little bit like that, but I was kind of just messing around to see if I could. But I didn't want all the text in red because that would have been really annoying to look at. All right, shall we? How long have we been reading? Oh my god. We're how long have we been? Yeah, we're almost at 3 hours. Yeesh. Yep, 3 hours. Let's continue though, because I feel as though I want to make it past, let's say, yeah, we can make it to the next chapter, and then we can call it a night. How about that? It's page 121. Infinite book, quite literally. But, if you guys go on Twitch, you can make me, I don't know, hydrate or, like, stretch or something while I'm doing all this. I'm going to start, like, speed running a little bit this. I'm gonna speed run a bit because keep yapping in chat to give me good vibes because, oh my god. He wrote this at 28. What the fuck, man? But, let's, keep the good vibes going let me, hold up, let me take care of him. Tis fittingly in the culminating lines of Traum und Unmentung that this imagery crosses a climatic threshold. He found a petrified desolation in the American English. He found a petrified desolation in the evening. The company of one deceased as he entered the dark house of the father. Purple clouds enwreathed his head, so that he fell upon his own blood and image, a lunar countenance, and fainted, petrified into emptiness when, in a shattered mirror, a dead youngster appeared, the sister. Night enveloped the accursed genus. With the passage of such beauty and labyrinthian depths, any response is likely at worst to merely irritate, and at best to increase our perplexity. I will only ask one simple question. Is there a connection to be made between the shattering of the mirror and the movement of the astronomical imagery? Between an explosion of desire that exceeds all introversion or reflection on the one hand, and nocturnal or lunar process of the other? If such a connection were to be made, it would surely pass by the way of the sister, who was herself a threshold between the reflective order of the father's house and the illimitative, illimitative difference of the night sky. It is the night pool with its subtly differentiated luminosities, a series of intensities which defy resolution within the dialectic of presence and absence, that flood onto mirror with the sister, shattering every power of representation. At the point of a certain nocturnal delirium, or lunacy, the relation of the sister to the family is metamorphosed. She no longer obeys the law of the boundary by mediating the family with itself, sublimating its Gnosticism, or establishing insertion into the order of signification by disappearing, leaving the father's house according to the exchange. Oop. Super far ahead, sorry. Okay. Keep going. Keep yapping in chat so I can look up and get more positivity, guys. Leaving the father's house according to the exchange believed in, it has collapsed into chaos now. Wait, there was a page in between this. Patterns of patrilineal exogamy, and thus a metabolic or reproductive moment within a kinship structure. Instead, she breaches the family by opening in onto an alterity which has not been appropriated in advance to any deep structure or encompassing system. A night that was indeterminable alterity, such as this would be a fully positive differentiation from the day. Perhaps the single most important trackal text on this theme, in addition to the culmination of Traum und Umnachtung, is a poem called Geburt, Birth, where lunar imagery functions similarly as hemorrhaging of familial interiority. The poem pivots upon a line at the end of the third stanza, which is sublimated incestuality, works as a stifling movement of interiorization. Selbstsünd obliegt sein Bild der gefallenen Engel. Sighing, the fallen angel glimpsed his image. Sighing, the fallen angel glimpsed his image. It might seem as if the birth of the sister is to be absorbed in a retreat to the claustrophobic court of the Gelschlet. But although the fourth stanza begins with an awakening in a musty room, dumpfe Stube. Oh. The one who thus awakes is a pale one, ein bleiches. Luna, the eyes of the mother, or the midwife, Steinern Greisen, ascribed as two moons, a reference taking us back to the night, parentheses, the black wing touches the boy's temple, and the crucial image from the second stanza, that of the decayed moon. Silence of the mother, under black pines. The sleeping hands open out. When the cold and ruined moon appears. It would be possible to interpret this ruin of the moon as a dialectical restoration of the inside, its order and its securities, as if what it had defied in the inside was now falling its way into self-annihilation. It might thus be asserted, this nocturnal path departing from everything we have always believed in, it has all collapsed into chaos now. Wasn't it obvious it was going to go terribly wrong? Stop moment. Wasn't it obvious it was going to go terribly wrong? You should have listened to your priest, parents, teachers, the police. Yet this is not the only reading open to us. The ruin of the moon might seem like a block to the nocturnal movement that passes from claustrophobic interior into endless space, and that conjugates the dynasty within an unlimited alterity. But this would not be the case if the moon itself was, at least partially, a restrictive element across the path of departure, rather than being the sole gateway into the heavens. The ruin of the moon would then be a protraction of the nocturnal trajectory, a dissolution of the lunar that proceeds not as a negation of the night, but as a falling away of what is still too similar to the sun. The second possibility is supported by the terms of Heidegger's reading. He is very precise in his interpretation of the delirious journey across the nocturnal pool, about what he takes the meaning of the moon to be, a constriction of stellar luminescence rather than the ultimate elimination of sunlight, a fading and cooling of the stars. The cool light stems from the shining of the lunar woman, Selana. Ring in her radiance, as ancient Greek verse says, the stars fade and even cool. This interpretation might seem to lack all philosophical rigor, and perhaps even forsake any possible theoretical reference. In fact, it contributes to a problematic of enormous importance, although one that has been fragmented and largely obliterated by the constitution of astronomy and astrophysics as positive sciences in modern times. Blink, blink. Keep putting more good... Keep yapping in this chat. No, don't use Discord. You gotta yap in this chat, because if not, I'm going to lose all steam, and I need you guys here. Get everyone here! Get the gang here! Plink. Although one that has been fragmented and largely obliterated by the constitution of astronomy and astrophysics as positive sciences in modern times, this problem is that of real and astronomically evident differences that are in principle irreducible to mathematical formalism. Oops, I'm on a page. Formalism, yeah. And which are furthermore, as Deleuze has demonstrated in the closing sections of Différence et Répétition. Sorry, that was a little bit of a Quebecois accent that came out. He wants to be Lacan so bad. No, he wants to be Deleuze so bad. Différence et répétition, a potential basis for a quite other and more comprehensive approach to the mathematization or theoretical quantification without any recourse to ultimate identity or equalities. The obscuration of such differences within the constitution of astroscience has been a deferral rather than a resolution of the problem of radically informal differences, leaving this matter as an explosive threat to the foundations of modern cosmology. Perhaps the last confident, unitary, and explicit treatment of the question is to be found in Hegel's Encyclopedia, in the Zusatz, to the transition from the finite mechanics to absolute mechanics. One can admire the stars because of their tranquility, but they are not of equal dignity to the concrete individual. The filling of space breaks out, ausschlagt, into endless kinds of matter, but that, i.e., the casting of the stars, is only the first outbreak, ausschlagen, that can delight the eye. This outbreak of light, Lichtausschlag, Why are the physical pages offset? Ugh, they're offset by 1, so I keep forgetting that every time I get to this page, it's actually... So, yeah, this makes more sense. This page is that page. But, it's only the first outbreak, Ausschlagen, that can delight the eye. This break of light, Licht, Ausschlag, is no more worthy of wonder than that of a rash in man or than a swarm of flies. Philosophy turns its gaze away from the stars, leaning from Thales perhaps, who fell into a hole whilst absorbed in astronomical contemplation. In a subtle but rigorous neo-Ptolemaism, why? Hegel subordinates the stellar moment to the concrete and ordered bodies of the solar system, and these bodies are in turn subordinated into the development of terrestrial life. This is due to the dialectic dignity of peculiarized actuality in comparison with the abstract principle, so that astrophysical laws are sublated into their successively more concrete expositions into geology, biology, anthropology, and cultural history. Yet there is something more primordially and uncontrollably disturbing in the vast and senseless dispersion of the stars, something which is even hideous, like the disease of the skin. What offends Hegel about the stars is the irrational facticity of their distribution, scattering which obeys no discernible law. He expresses his disdain for this distribution, his anxiety before it, in a word that is both a powerful description and an acknowledgement, Ausschlag, which can mean swing or deflection. But in this context, it means outbreak, in the sense of rash. The verb ausschlagen is even more multifaceted and can mean, among other possibilities, to knock or to beat out, to wave, to burgeon or to blossom or to sweat. Ugh. Oh my gosh, we're really going crazy in this. Oh, okay. We've only got a few more pages until we reach the end of this chapter. We can do it, guys. Where is everyone? Where's the squad? I need some sort of positivity before I explode. I'm gonna explode into a million pieces reading this. Hi. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Oh, you're so sweet. Fight on. I need help. I'm not. This is hard. No one gets it. It's hard. なのですよ。これは難しい。難しいよ。本当に難しい。Read Greek? No. Yeah, Doris, I went to school in Japan. Well, I went to school and had an internship and scholarships for both. Cosmic Core. Doris, I thought we talked about this. Yeah, no, I was literally like, okay, we'll talk about it later because I'm going to go on a tangent forever. Stop, I thought you knew. I mean, my Japanese is super bad now, but I remember I was walking on the street the other day and there were these like 3 Japanese guys in front of me and like they were talking about this girl in Japanese. I remember just listening into their conversation and being like, oh my god, these guys are dicks. Because they were like, oh man, she's so hot, but she's such a bitch. And I was like, I should not be overhearing this because they're talking loud. But yeah. I went to school in Japan for a little bit on a scholarship, and then I went back for an internship, and that was really bad, and I realized that I never want to live in Japan. But I can still, if I ever watch anime, I don't need subtitles anymore at this point. They talk so much shit in Mandarin. See, I wouldn't be able to pick up on Mandarin. I can pick up immediately on Japanese. Like I think it's also because it was like survival instinct. Because when you're just dropped there, you're like, you learn or you starve or you can't find your way home. And not finding your way home happens a lot, and it's not fun. And I don't like it, but it happened quite a bit. Well, no, I had a host family when I was there for high school, so they were awesome. But I didn't have a Japanese SIM card, so I just had to hope 7-Eleven was open and carry like one of those external batteries with me. Luckily, satellite doesn't need a SIM card, so you can still know. Google Maps still knows where you are. It just won't tell you what's around you because it doesn't know unless you go to Japanese 7-Eleven and use their free Wi-Fi. And that place, so clean. You can eat literal because they have really good ice cream too. All the food there is okay. It's like passable. It's definitely not like gas station food. Chop, you should watch a bunch of Japanese monster movies and start talking like a yakuza. That would be kind of crazy. I don't really thing is that I know like slang, but I feel like the slang that I know for yakuzas is like yeah, like the 80s type, like ora, like shit like that. So, like stupid stereotype. But yeah. I haven't even yeah, no. I think I saw Yakuza once when I was cuz I okay. Lore drop, I went to school in Nagoya High School. Well, not the entire time, but for a bit. And there was this dude wearing like a sky blue suit, and he had his hair slicked back and was wearing sunglasses in the middle of like, because there's a stop called Nagoya City. So you get off there, and you look like there are a bunch of crosswalks, like the most metropolitan area in Nagoya, because most of it's like kind of suburban-ish. It's like city suburban. I don't know how to explain that. I think it's like the fifth biggest city in Japan. Maybe it's gone up or down since I was last there. I should watch The Godfather to learn Italian. I don't think you'll learn any Italian from The Godfather, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, I saw him in the sky blue suit, and he saw me, and I had like long gray box braids, and he saw me, and he's like, ah, ah, and so he like stopped me for a second. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so fucked. And he's like, cool hair, and I was just like, because I knew he was definitely a yakuza, so I was like just scared shitless, and I was like, thank you. And I pretended I didn't know Japanese, and I just like sped off. I was waiting for my friends, and it was just like, oh my god, I need to get out of here. But yeah. PG 160 Gundam Unicorn Final Day is your white whale. Hey, I have these things that are gonna make you upset. Ooh, I'm not gonna lose my page. Guess what I made? Gabagool! Ta-da! I'm very proud of these actually. The only thing is that I did it so late at night and it was the night before something. So like I accidentally did it so that when I put them on, they're now reversed. So the left side has to go on my right ear and the right. Yeah. Yes, I made them myself. They look kind of dumb on me though. It took so much finagling. It was so hard, but also they like articulate a little bit too, you can see. Cuz I can like this part can come out or go back in. There's like a little articulation still present there, so it can like hide, but then it can come back out. And then all of these guys can be filled with and go in all sorts of crazy directions. Woo, wee, wee, boop, boop, boop. Yeah. Got the perfect grade of that. Get that kit as a gift. The wings are over a foot long. It's so craziness. Yeah. I don't remember which one this was because I'm not gonna front. I specifically got it for the wings. I'm sorry. I'm a poser, but yeah, it was definitely. I realized just the amount of skill that it takes to make these. I was like, ooh, wow. I can see why people get obsessed with this. But this here, let me put them on really quick. They look really cool from the side. They look really dumb from the front. You can kind of see. And then I look like this. And also they get caught on everything. Yep, that's probably right. Yeah, my hair gets caught in it all the time, but you can see. It's fun to walk around with them on. Although, if I were to do this again, I would 3D print the design. Because this was not only very hellish. I do like the articulation, I will say that. That's fun. Although it gets caught on everything. But, yeah. Um, encyclopedic knowledge of articulation features will never fail you. I don't doubt it, Icy. But okay, let's keep speed running. Ruffled feathers. True. Okay, that makes me feel better about whenever I like hit them on things. Luckily, I've never lost anything, so I want to make probably another pair though, because I got some really cheap headphones just to make them, and I got a really cheap figurine just to make it. And I feel like I can just do better. I can probably just not design better articulation, don't get me wrong, but I definitely like could design something that would fit on headphones a lot better. Since I feel like I kind of slapped it together. But yeah, let's continue. This is due to dialectical dignity of a particularized actuality in comparison with the abstract principles, so that astrophysical laws are sublated into the successively more concrete expositions into geology, biology. Oh, wait, I read this part already. The verb ausschlagen is even more multifaceted and can mean, among other possibilities, to knock, to beat out, to knock or beat out, to wave, to burgeon or blossom, or to sweat. But Hegel was not speaking of the blossoming of the stars here, or at least he does not want to do so. We must be careful not to lose track of the object Hegel is isolating here. It is a differentiation that is at once senseless and sensible, an outbreak of irrationality, and the redoubt of a reason similar to that which Kant acknowledges as the Scheim. Oh wait, sorry. Page turn. Stop. What's this one? Scheimati Mulcher. Stop. Where are you? It is the differential of it is the differential principle of stars, flies, flocks of birds, and dust, of astronomical, geological, ornithological, and epidermal eruptions. Trackle names it with deft precision. Stab der Stern, the dust of stars. In his reading of Trackle, Heidegger. There's a comma that needs to go there, doofus. In his reading of Trackle, Heidegger also acknowledges this unity of Aus and Schlag as a disruption of sentience, but only if the of is read according to the subversive syntax of Heideggerian thought, as an of that no longer presumes a prior and schematimus. Oh no, this one. Is that? I don't know. But alas, we trudge on. Sorry, let's reread the sentence. In his reading of Trackle, Heidegger also acknowledges this unity of Aus and Schlag as disruption of sentience, but only if the of is read according to the subversive syntax of Heideggerian thought, as an of that no longer presumes a prior and undisrupted subject. Schematimaslara. For Heidegger, sentience is not exploded or threatened without. For Heidegger, sentience is not exploded or threatened from without by the Ausschlag. It is always already under the sway of the outbreak that will be derivatively apprehended as its subversion. Schematism theory? Schematism theory? Is that even how you pronounce it? Schematism? Schematism? I feel like schematism makes more sense in the American English. So, excerpt here. Trakl sees sentience, Geist, in terms that weave Wesson, that is named in the primordial signification of the word Geist, since Geist means incensed, dislocated, being outside of oneself. Aufgebracht, incensed, Shishin? I don't know. But außer Shishin. Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, okay, thank you, stop. Hegelian sentience would be described as where are we? Oh, yeah. Entsetzt by cosmological disruption. But the sense of this outrage changes with Heidegger's radicalized approach, in which insensedheit cannot be thought as a delimiting response to the anarchic explosion of cosmic debris, but only as its inertial protraction. Heidegger thus provides with hermeneutical key, according to which very sentient reaction to the Ausschlag can be read as a symptom or repetition of the outbreak itself. 'Tis no longer even that sentience is infected by irrationality, 'tis rather that sentience is dissolved into the very moment of infection, becoming a virulent element of contagious matter, since the light of the stars is not transcendental ground in phenomenality, but rather a differential effect stemming from the isolation or even uneven distribution of intensities. Hegel takes its claim to philosophical dignity as an offense. He determines starlight as pathological luminescence without order or intelligibility. The fading of stars, therefore, among other things, the fading of stars is, therefore, among other things, a name for necessary stage in Hegel's system. The senseless distribution of stellar material is repressed in the interest of the particularized subplanetary body, which in turn furthers geocentrism in the infinitizing of light. I hate this man's use of words so much. Just say things normally. Holy shit. Why not just say, why say infinitizing instead of just the making infinite? Yes, it's pretension. It's deep pretension. Oh my god. Stop. Ah. It's utter pretension. You're going to get some sort of fucking hernia if you keep acting this pretentious. This movement crushes difference under a logicized notion of significance. In contrast, Trackle believes the thought of the sign together with that of stellar dispersion, writing O ihr Zeichen und Stern. Stop, did I say that correctly? Oh, I get a posture check? Okay. Sorry, worm, posture check. I'm sorry. Here's my posture. It don't matter, yeah. It don't matter. I feel like this has made my German pronunciation much better. Thank you, Stop, for helping with all of the fucking pronunciation because I don't know. Oh, I can help with. I can do the French though because I'm gonna go into French for a second. Am I on the correct page? Oops. Yes? No? No, I'm not. I'm ahead. Yeah, okay, we're here. Nick is definitely an actually guy. Yeah, absolutely. He's older than me and he's still writing like this. What? Osier Zeichen und Stern. O you signs and stars. And partially echoing Rimbaud's words, un, 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 un chat, un chat mystérieux tombe des. Oh my god. Mais un chat. Un chant. That's not. Okay, is that like an older use of. Okay, chanson? I thought it was. Whatever. Un chant, like a chant, but it's not a song, it's a chant. Okay. Un chant mystérieux tombe des astres d'or. A mysterious song falls from the stars of gold. He mentions die Silberstim, die Silberstimmen der Stern, the silver voice of the stars, and das Licht goldverfallener Stern, the last of gold rune stars. The German word Stern derives from the Indo-European root stir, meaning to extend or spread out. Keep going on in chat. I need more positivity here because I'm losing it. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Yeah. It's from this root that the English word strew, as well as star, descends. The stars are traces of a primordial strewing, an explosive dispersion in which its formlessness defies mathematization or the reduction of order. 'Tis the shockwave of this metaphorics, which. I'm losing my mind. Yes. Thank you for the hearts. I need the hearts right now. Thank you. Hearts. Hearts. Aw. I'm sorry the shop was closed. Your ex-wife still misses me, but her aim is getting better. I see. You and your freaking jokes. Why? You're. I'm gonna steal that one from you. I know that's like a common joke, but I'm stealing the fact that you used it because it's funny. Butterfly? Okay. Let's go. Um, Did I lose my... Am I flipping through too many pages? Yeah, okay, there we go. 'Tis the shock wave of this metaphorics which sweeps through Trackle's specifications of the sign, and it is perhaps for this reason Trackle writes of ruination, verfallen, in this context. Any order which is to be extracted is from the steering of difference will be dependent on this spreading out. Latin sternare. Sternare? It will not be metaphysical, dependent upon a transcendental difference, but stratophysical, a movement between planes or grades of dispersion, where metaphysics has always been fixed disorder in a dichotomous relation to an absolute principle. Am I on the correct page for you guys? Yes, okay. Where metaphysics has always been a fixed disorder in a dichotomous relation to an absolute principle of coherent form or ultimate lawfulness, a stratophysics would locate regional order within a differentiation in the rate of dissipation. It thus constitutes an abyssal relativism, although not one that is rooted in subjective perspectives, but rather in the open-ended stratifications of impersonal and unconscious physical forces. Astrophysics is marked by its etymology as stratophysics, a materialist study of the planes of distributed intensities, and therefore can be seen to abandon its most extreme potentialities when it subordinates itself to mathematical physics. The question of strata can insinuate itself into every word of Trackle's text, because it is at the core of any rigorous graphematics. Each stratum is a dimension of dispersion, flattened like a spiral galaxy. This flatness is just as crucial to the study of the intensities as the trajectories traced within it, since the stratification or stacking of organizational levels is the basic form of any possible energetic surplus. The irreducible or final... Switching mazes for you guys. Principle of real form, redundancy. Each stratum has its specific negentropy, or positive range of compositions, selecting only a few relatively narrow series of combinations from the stock of elements generated by its substrate. A stratum thus inherits an aggregate. I'm switching to my American accent now. What is going on? He really be cramming in a lot into these sentences that don't belong in them. Yes. No truer words have been said. Stop. No truer words have been said. The thing is that, like, the way that he uses language is always like he's poking at something in almost a poetic way, in which it causes the brain to have that sort of like lateral connection in which you can infer generally what he's saying. And it's in that poetic sort of lack of specificity and open to interpretation that he is able to come off as extremely pretentious and quote-unquote smart, when in reality, if he were to say it in much more lay terms, it would sound really lame, probably. Like, each stratum has its specific negentropy, or positive range of... You could have omitted negentropy and just said positive range of compositions, buddy. You didn't need to put that there. Your audience, it's a bunch of philosophy nerds. They don't know this shit. Fiction and literature is just bad. Like, literally, what is the whole... Nick Land say 6'7". I missed it. Yeah, Nick Land did say 6'7". He's pointing to a bunch of things in history that kind of... From what I'm garnering from this, and maybe my interpretation is a little mixed because... he's going on quite a few tangents here, and we haven't finished it yet either. Hi, Kay. How are you? Oh my god. But yeah, from what I'm understanding, 6'7". You guys can't clip that. Oh, thank you. Uh, yeah, no. What I'm kind of garnering from this is essentially he's trying to break language down so that he can use like semantics to kind of understand, because this portion is titled Narcissism and Dispersion, right? So he's alluding to a lot of forms of entropy, interpretation, and language in itself being narcissistic. No one clips 6'7". I hate you guys. No, not happening. But yeah. So he's being pretentious so that you can't really follow that thread very clearly. And also he's being purposely obfuscating when he goes on all these different fucking tangents. But a lot of what he's alluding to is like language itself, especially in the artistic sense, tends to be like a little recursive or like self-referential. So, that's what I'm garnering so far. We only have a few pages left of the chapter, so we'll see. But maybe he'll come to a more stunning conclusion in a bit. Part of the Bagel Records. Uh-oh. We're going into the Bagel Records? Anyway, let's go. A stratum thus inherits an aggregate degree of difference, or grammar. Just call it grammar. Distinguishing it from a certain potentiality of randomness, unproblematic reducibility to into its substrate, and constituting a potential for teleological illusion, unproblematic reduction of its substrate. The stratification of intense positivities, which is most clearly indexed by the successive unities of the letter, word, sentence, etc., that are precipitated out of a common graphic plasma, or semiotic substance within alphabetical regimes, is the only rigorous basis for in architectonics of the sign. Only because of such graphic redundancy, for example, that stored in the difference between letter and word, between the words an alphabet makes possible and those which are realized, can energy be unevenly distributed within a stratum and intensities generated. Tractl acknowledges this excitatory axis, which punctures and intensifies each plane of distribution, and the use of words related to the German verb sinken, to sink. Fucking why? Thus he writes, shit in German. Drunken with the breezes, the lids soon subside, and open themselves to stranger star signs. And signs and stars sink quietly in the evening pool. The explosion of stellar and semiotic materials generates a combination of intrastratal and transstratal processes, the former of which have been historically determined as causal or legislated, and the latter as intellectual or teleological or legislative. This ramification, speculative I admit, of Trackl's vocabulary of Stufen, steps, of terrace differentiation, a theme I hope to explore more thoroughly elsewhere. Stratification is the complex physiological process, the only one in which the distinction between matter and meaning cannot be sustained. The tools Heidegger relies upon in his approach to the uses of exile into the night and the astronomical dispersion stem from the extative analyses of his Marburg Meditations. In the term, he focuses upon a possible entry point for such a discussion is flame. He first gathers Trackle's stellar thematic into that of a flame with the suggestion, the night flame. Oh, sorry, since I'm quoting a German, I'll do my American English accent. Bro is sinking. Yeah, I'm sinking. Um, Not to valorize him, but even Lacan would take a single sentence to say all that, a paragraph at most. Yes, literally. Stop, you and I could not agree more. It would be a knot of references and metaphors. It would be a knot of references and metaphors of untranslatability and neologism, but it would be way more efficient. Yes, and also just like fucking, like the way that Land, um, uses the way that Land defines post hoc is something that is not only really annoying, but also like I guess he's trying to do sort of Germanic like fucking amalgamation of words together to make them like slightly more efficient, but it makes it fucking putrid to read. Like genuinely. It's kind of like philosophy is accelerating towards some sort of breaking point of incomprehensibility. Like it'll collapse into singularity so beautiful and coherent text can then rise from the ashes. If and only the woodpecker sighed. The thing is that I don't think people understand that accelerationism in Land's original use of it in philosophy, to my interpretation, has been just a form of annihilationism, and quite literally nihilism in in its premise. Tropical's gonna start Twitter beef with Nick Land after this. We have too many mutuals in common. He can just fight me in person. Um, it won't. It won't though because it's better if discourse is impossible to interpret and thus only shared by those who possess control over it. The thing is that once you hit this sort of level of pedantic semantics, we'll call it, these things are so difficult to discern that you can essentially argue that everything means anything. I can fucking make some sort of artistic claim that this means something about dogs and cats. Like it's not really relevant to the point getting across. Trop, please do not start Twitter beef with Nick Land. I'll fucking fight him right now. Please do not. Wait, can we make that happen? Can y'all do chess boxing? Settle this in level 1 chess boxing. I don't want to box him in chess. I want to box him in person. He's like what, in his 40s now? 50s? I don't know. I don't know. Someone tell Nick Land to fight me because I'll take him out. Go to the knife fight with a gun. But yeah, this is I'll say maybe he gets a pass because he's 28 when he wrote this, but this is like actually just fucking putrid to read through. Like I have friends that write well, and they still do this sort of like pretentious like coinage of phrases or like sort of like poetic pointing generally to the random idea in which they're invoking, but it's never this fucking like it's never this overt and just like annoying and pretentious to read through. Bleh. Anyway. Uh Stratification of the complex physiological process, the only one in which the distinction between matter and meaning cannot be sustained. Am I on the right page for you guys? No, I don't think so. Yes. Okay, here we go. Okay. If I'm messing around, I know I'll write something like this, but I know better. I mean, I don't mean to shit on. No, I do mean to shit on this. This is like actually fucking rancid to read. This is a rancid read, dude. Stop doing these like this autofellatia on paper, because if I read it and I'm like, wow, you're blowing my mind, you're like so cool, I'm not ever actually thinking that. You're writing this and you're doing this for yourself, but anyone reading this is going to be like, and then they're gonna look at a dictionary and be like, is that actually a word? And they're gonna see it's not a word half the time, and they're gonna be like, why did he just say that and then include the actual proper definition directly after, mind you, or in parentheses literally after. Like, you don't need to overcomplicate your language like this. It's not worth it, and it makes your fucking writing rancid to read. Wretched. Absolutely wretched. Horrible practice, genuinely. And it just looks bad. Like, who writes like that? You're just defining things twice. Why? It does feel like you're trying to see around yourself while swimming in a muddy puddle. Like, the words that he uses just point in the general direction of the definition that he's getting at. But okay, with considering language games, I can fucking acknowledge that, but like, it's such a fucking loose use of language. There could be so much more precision here, in which it's not fucking impossible to parse. Maybe he uses big words because he doesn't even know what he's trying to say. Real and true. I don't know. Once again, he wrote this like what, 25 years ago, so who knows what he was thinking back then. But let's trudge on. The tools Heidegger relies upon in his approach issues the exile into the night and astronomical dispersion stem from the extrative analyses of his Marburg meditations. The term he focuses upon as a possible entry point for such a discussion is flame. He first gathers Trakel's scalar thematic into that flame with the suggestion, the night flames as the lightning mirror of the starry sky. He then proceeds, das flammend ist doch asser sich, das Licht und Erlangsen las. I don't know. Fuck, man. I tried. Stop. You can say that I tried, right? Nick Landis 63. I could beat that bitch to a puss. Sorry. What's the I've been reading too long. Could beat that bitch to a puss. And that's so funny. Actually, on Oy vey is right. It's really funny. I was in this group chat and it happened again. You know how I was told I was white twice? And I was in a Twitter group chat that I was put into, mind you, by someone that I didn't know, but I just started talking because I thought it was funny. And once again, someone accused me of doing blackface, and I was like, what? Yeah, no, literally. Apparently, I'm white now. So and mind you, by like the most chronically online white dudes. And they just like straight up assume that I'm either white or. And like it was referencing a selfie of me. So I was directly in view. And he was saying that I was doing blackface. And I was like, yeah, isn't it great? Like, it's really good blackface, isn't it? K1. Dola's Riz. Hi, by the way. Honorary. My streamer has blackface allegations. Yeah, me doing blackface. Ah! Anyway, okay, let's continue because oh god, stop. I attempted to read that. I did good, right? That which flames is the outside itself. That which lightens lets gleam, and that which in doing so can expand voraciously so that um yeah. Everything is consumed to become white ash. The expression also sich is such a clear index for Heidegger's notion of ecstasis that Hertz employs ecstasis as its translation in his renderings of this sentence. The flame of the stars is explosive, or outside itself, but this Ausschlag can be gentle illumination or uncontrolled devastation. An Aufruhr, revolt, turmoil. It is this or with which I am attempting to indicate Heidegger's hope that the Weiterfrausung can be deflected or suspended in contingency, that is the ambiguous path of his reading turns. 10 pages earlier, Heidegger poses this sense of an alternative between castings. Schlag? Stop! What's this one? Smiling friends. Truly. Schlag? Most acutely, and in doing so it turns us to the question of infection, examining Trackel's expression of das Blödscht Geischalt, the accursed genus. He points to a Greek word that can be translated equally as either schlag or flush, curse. And this one I don't know how to pronounce either. Greek word is also translated by the Latin plangere, from which we can derive the English plague, and for the German plague, found in the 6th line of Trackel's poem Fohlen. I cannot pronounce this for the life of me. The E at the end is Schlagen, isn't it? Schlag... Schlage. Schlage? Okay. Thank you for telling me that I got it right. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see all of this going on here. A. It's a long A. Okay. Schley. Trackel's poem Fionn. In the 15th line, Allerslien, All Souls Day, Heidegger's text, which I cannot confidently hazard to my translation alone, reads, oh my fucking god, bro. Again! Stop with this. Stop. Anyway, going straight to just there is no translation. This one doesn't have a translation? Oh no, the translation is directly okay, good. With what is this genus cast, i.e. cursed? Cursed names the Greek thing a word casting. The curse of the decomposed genus consists in this. Oh wait, sorry. This is from Heidegger, so I should be reading it in my American accent. With what is this genus cast, i.e. cursed? Cursed names the Greek blank In our word casting, the curse of the decomposed genus consists in this, that this ancient genus is cast apart into the discord of genders. Each of the genera strives for unleashed revolt in an always individuated and naked wildness of the beast. It is not the twofold that is the curse, but rather the discordance of the two. Out of the revolt of the blind wildness, it carries the genus cast away into torn duality and unleashed individuation. Thus divided and cast down, the ruined genus is no longer able to find the right cast. Oh. Fix posture. Trop goes insane for 4 hours reading on stream. Yeah, oh my god, yeah, we're hitting 4 hours, aren't we? Wow. Ouch. But oh man, we're so close to being done with this chapter. We have literally like 3 more pages, 4 more pages, 5 more pages. I don't know if I want to do that. We'll do 5 more minutes of this, but I'm done with Bro's clowning. I'm sorry, I'm done with Bro's German clowning. What? Someone look up stop doors. Look up what German clown is in German, because I'm tired of this guy's German clowning. This book feels like I'm being strangled. Yes. Likewise. Same hat, in fact. I need to know what the German word for clown is so I can just attribute that to this entire Deutsch clown. That's it. Awesome. I'm tired of this guy's Deutsch clowning because this shit's wild. I'm so tired. Der Clown. Truly. He is Der Clown. Yes. I'm tired of Bro's clowning. Deutscher clownery. Yes. I'm tired of this guy's Deutscher clownery. Well, because Bro's trying to give me a fucking migraine. I'll say that. If I knew I needed to study German before reading this one article, and also, mind you, it would be half of the size that it actually is if you took out all of the literal rephrasing. Or sorry, not rephrasing, just generally putting someone else's work just directly into his. Just to, like, put out some pages, you know? Like, we didn't need to do that, but here we are. Yes. Buffoon is ein Hanswurst. Worst? Ein Hanswurst. Yeah, that's him. Okay, so we'll keep going for 3 more minutes because I want to keep going on his Deutscher clownery. Clownery. He is really the clownery. He is the entire circus, in fact. Oh god, here we go. Yeah. It should be possible to read this passage as if it were a development entirely internal to Heidegger's philosophy, and as if reading the trackle in as if the reading of trackle in which it embodies in which it is embedded were a mere eccentricity or modulation of the vocabulary of an unswerving intellectual pursuit. That you lack, sir. You lack you lack unswerving intellectual pursuit, because your intellectual pursuit seems to be swerving directly into the fucking garbage. Holy shit. Such a reading would recall that, according to Heidegger, ontotheology is the curse that leads beings to strive towards absolute mastery of the earth, erasing every trace of the dependence upon being. Well, guys never read Heinlein, that's for sure. Can you read Derwitz Uden? No, I'm not. No, I see. I'm not going to ever subject myself to that. Absolutely not. No. Hard no. But, okay. We continue. That difference of which being with respect to being displaced. Actually, I should probably use the last 2 minutes to okay. So let's pretend that I didn't read this part here, because this is page 116 and the chapter ends at 121, but we're not finishing that in the next 2 minutes. I'm gonna use this part to sign off. Cause wow, we did that. Mein Gott. Oy vey, I should say. Er, I mean, Heidegger was a man of really esoteric understandings of human genealogy. You are decaying? I am also decaying. Okay. Who's still in chat so I can say hi and then also wish you guys a good night? The Rot? Yes. Despite all my rage. Hello. You get the gist of it. We won't miss anything by not hearing the next few pages. I'll probably come back, I'm thinking, next week. Trop is still just a trop in a cage. So true. That's me. I'm just a trop in a cage. But, despite all my rage, I'm still just a trop in... wait, that's not how it goes. Ah, I see remembers. You hate Nick now? I don't think that any of his, I have yet to see writing that I really genuinely like. Honestly, the first, like, passage, the first work that he put into this book was genuinely, like, not that bad compared to what I just read. This was really evil. Like, if we're ranking evilness, like, if we're ranking evil scale right now, 10 being, like, maximum evil, we're, like, at a 10.5. And I don't like ranking things above above the scale, but that was pretty evil. And also just, like, all of this German shit, you don't need to include that. You're just buffing out these pages. I hate it. It's okay for evil to be evil. That's what it is. See, we're just bringing attention to evil. It's kind of crazy that we've just had the hyper racism article pinned for 4 hours. Oh my god. Well, you have to know the author, you know? That's actually my biggest con. I'm not a Smashing Pumpkins fan. You've fallen for my greatest ruse. You fooled me this entire time, Ice. I trusted you. I even sent you them live. What? Your brain is fried? Mine too. Oh, well, despite all my rage, you're just an ice in a cage. But, yeah, no. Okay, I think with that, I believe I want Sylvie on the next stream because that would be fun, but I assume she's probably busy. So, yeah, I think maybe for next stream we can do. I want my weekend, especially because I need to finish packing and moving. But, neck deep in it. Really? Oh, I miss her. But, um, let's aim for either Sunday night or Monday night. Yeah, no, she's going through it definitely. I know that much. Like what I see the posts about what she's going through academically. Quite the trooper. But genuinely super smart cookie, so thank you for tuning in. Sorry for the random rage where I just bitch about Nick Land's writing when he's 28, but also like how do you write like this when you're 28, man? Come on. But yeah. It's not even intellectual rigor, it's just like some like semiotic garbage. I feel like I just fucking like he regurgitated onto a piece of paper and I just ate it for 4 hours. That's what just happened. Yes, semiotics is very nasty. But let's aim for no, I want my Sunday. So let's aim for Monday night next stream, and I apparently seem to only manage to start at 8 because there's always something going on. Me when I make up stuff and call it research. So true, stop. Um we ate it for 4 hours. Aww. Doors. I mean, hey, the funniest thing is that I love people who say that they're accelerationists because they've never fucking read Nick Land, and you can tell. Oh my god, no accelerationist has ever read Nick Land. And this is why. Yes, I will aim for more streams. Thank you for joining this one, and I'll keep trying to make it more funny and lighthearted with all this fucking slop on the screen. This is actually just slop maxing. I think like CJ the X called it like yap mogging, but this is slop maxing. Like genuinely just stealing an entire paragraph in German. Come on. But yeah, we'll read through more slop, more Landian slop maxing next stream, or maybe we'll change it up. I don't know. Um, but maybe I'll put a poll on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter so I can actually interact and ask you guys what you want. But we can do either a continuation and finish that chapter to read. Don't tell don't tell Gokanaru to read Nick Land. He doesn't need that sort of negativity in his life. Genuinely, let him just be happy reading like history novels. No, he knows what Fanged Noumena is. What? We're both well, I don't think he's as into philosophy as I am, because I'm more like I'm with one dime on that front a lot more. But I'm more like classic philosophy pilled. One dime is more like political theory. Slop maxing, yap mogging, none of those words are in the Gospel of Judas. Well, they should be. Um But yeah, I think we're like the philosophy people of the studio, I believe. But I definitely am the one who's most attuned to like actual classical philosophy. But this has been a tropical stuck stream, despite thankfully not being in the tropics this time. But I hope you guys had fun. And uh it's the CCCRU. No, like the people at the studio are usually can be anywhere from culture to like I don't know, conspiracy to satire, commentary, you know. Philosophy stuck? Yeah, that's where I am. I'm quite stuck in it. But I wouldn't say that I'm stuck. I think I'm the only one that actually knows anything about cybernetics at the studio. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a dirty lie. I think Tony also knows a bit about cybernetics. But, yeah, as it relates to philosophy, he's more political philosophy. I'm more, like, classical philosophy. But, I just like the internet is so disappointing. Is it? I mean, people know there's certain niches, and mine just happens to be one that is a pretentious 4chan-y one, and also academic. If the CCR, if did you know it's actually called the C Crew? That's how it's originally pronounced. We just pronounced it wrong this entire time. I'm not 4chan-y. I know. The thing is that I get by. Okay. Good night, Ryoko Kanaru. Yeah. If they actually studied cybernetic cultural research, we'd be doomed, actually. I want to posit that. But, Oh, not another one of these guys. Mod! Kill this man! Kill this guy on Twitch! Mm. Mm. Okay. Whoa. Oh, what's chat saying? You want the guys behind hyper-racism studying cybernetics, really? Yeah, good point. Yeah, no. Cybernetics is actually kind of like systems theory is actually really cool, but I won't get into my little tangent on systems theory. Actually, Crack was the one that put me onto that. If you can believe that. God, I miss her. But we need to get her back in the server. I wanna scheme. I miss her. But yeah, no, this has been definitely a reading. And now you guys can say that you've read more Nick Land than most Nick Land fans because none of them have actually read Nick Land despite saying that they're accelerationists. This has been a stream. I hope you guys had fun. It was actually really fun for me that I had you guys here. So thank you for making it significantly better for me. But you don't want to speak to Nick Land fans? Anyone in tech, if they like are a little bit too online, are probably Nick Land fans. So I wish you the best in your endeavors, but you may not be able to avoid them forever. Um, but yeah, I thank you guys for making the stream a lot more fun and helping me pronounce things. And oh, Teamwork, you missed remember when tech used to be mega liberal? It still is technically. There's a little bit of horseshit going on there. Crack is active in invisible sex. Well, I just want her back in the server. Um, Hyper-Racism is an article by Nick Land in 2014. You can look it up. I think it's still on archive.org/internet archive. So it's a quite short read. Gives you a good understanding of what his ideas are on race politics. But yeah, it's pinned also. But accelerationism, EAC, RAC, all of the acts. Yeah, I will kill you with an axe, genuinely. Although I think I fall into the category of LAC now, which is kind of funny because it sounds a bit like a Lacanian pun. But, oh, you unpinned it? Oh. Yeah, we need to get Crack back in the server. But, with that, I think we've no, think like Mark Fisher LAC. Like and not actually accelerationist, but just the understanding of the no, it's just communication obviously creates culture at a much faster rate when technology makes communication more efficient. You will have human culture grow exponentially, and that's just what we're dealing with right now. But anyway, I'm going to get on a tangent and but night Icy, and with that, okay. Monday night, 8 p.m. We'll continue this chapter and then we'll read something fun. And I don't know, like at me on Twitter with whatever the fun thing should be. Cause I need ideas. But yeah. It's been real. Good night. I love you guys. Oh, thank you for staying with me this long. And Oyasuminasai.